Chapter 73. Xiaohei, stand guard for me. Be careful that some demonic beasts might come and disturb my tribulation. Qin Yu turned around and shouted at Xiaohei. However, Xiaohei flapped its huge wings and cried out continuously. At the same time, it raised its head and stared at the purple tribulation clouds in the sky. Faint flames actually emerged from Xiaohei's body. Xiaohei was emitting an unprecedented aura presence. Hearing Xiaohei's eagle cry and looking at the rolling purple tribulation clouds in the sky, Qin Yu had an epiphany. He stared at Xiaohei in disbelief and said, "Could it be? You are going to transcend tribulation?" Xiaohei flapped its wings proudly and cried out continuously. Qin Yu immediately shouted angrily, "Xiaohei, don't show off here. Hurry up and get ready to receive the heavenly tribulation. I will stand guard for you. I am worried that some demonic beasts might come and disturb your tribulation." Qin Yu didn't dare to be careless. The energy in his body started to seep into every part of his body like beads. Qin Yu's skin was faintly glowing with a purple jade halo. With such a huge commotion caused by the heavenly tribulation, some of the nearby demonic beasts would definitely know. If some formidable demonic beasts came, it would be dangerous. It was taboo to be disturbed while transcending tribulation. TSK. The tribulation cloud is rolling non-stop. Electric snakes are wriggling in the tribulation cloud. Suddenly, an enormous pressure is generated from the tribulation cloud and presses down on the ground. In an instant, the pressure in the entire space below has increased by a lot. Qin Yu feels that even breathing has become a lot harder. Not good. It seems to be even more powerful than the previous tribulation of King Father. Could it be that different people or demonic beasts would face different heavenly tribulations? Qin Yu was shocked. Qin Yu clearly remembered the pressure of the tribulation clouds when his King Father was transcending tribulation. However, this time, it was much more powerful than the previous one. Going against heavens will naturally be punished by heaven and earth. That was why there was heavenly tribulation. The more formidable one's cultivation was, the more powerful the heavenly tribulation would be. Boom! With a loud clap of thunder, a thick purple bolt of lightning shot out of the tribulation clouds like a dragon. Then, with an indomitable aura, it charged down in a straight line. It was as if it could kill any god or demon that blocked its path. Its power was obviously greater. Qin Yu's spiritual sense spread out completely, covering a radius of 1,000 meters. At this moment, Qin Yu was most worried that some demonic beasts would come and disturb Xiaohei's tribulation. Xiaohei spread its wings and let out an eagle's cry that shook the heavens and earth. At the same time, it opened its beak and actually swallowed the purple lightning in one gulp. In an instant, the entire purple lightning dragon was swallowed by Xiaohei. At the same time, serpents of electricity flickered across Xiaohei's body. This. Qin Yu looked at all of this in shock. The first bolt of heavenly lightning was actually swallowed by Xiaohei. Tribulation transcendence was to resist heavenly lightning. Qin Yu had never heard of anyone swallowing heavenly lightning in one gulp. Looking at Xiaohei's appearance, it seemed to be quite happy eating it as it cried out proudly. Rolling thunder rumbled, and the purple tribulation clouds rolled even more wildly. Serpents of electricity flickered rapidly. After a while, the aura became even stronger. Obviously, the second bolt of heavenly lightning was about to descend. Suddenly, a serpentine lightning bolt rushed down from the sky at an extremely fast speed, directly striking down on Xiaohei's head. Boom! Xiaohei's wings closed, forming a protective cover of electricity. Streaks of electricity flickered outside the wings. The thunderbolt struck Xiaohei's wings with a loud bang. The protective cover flickered with electricity at an extremely fast speed. Unexpectedly, nearly half of the thunderbolt was deflected along the protective cover, while the rest of the thunderbolt was blocked by Xiaohei's wings. How hard are Xiaohei's wings? Qin Yu himself was not sure. They were at least stronger than Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu's expression suddenly changed. His holy sense discovered that in the forest not far away, there were blue fire wolves running towards them at an extremely fast speed. At first glance, he saw dozens of blue fire wolves running out of the forest, directly charging towards Qin Yu and Xiao He. Since Qin Yu and Xiao He came to the untainted land, naturally they had killed many blue fire wolves. These blue fire wolves were also very cunning. They only attacked at this moment. Howl! Loud wolf howls constantly resounded. Numerous blue fire wolves rushed out of the forest in an unending stream. In just a short while, Qin Yu discovered that there were already more than 100 blue fire wolves rushing towards him. Moreover, more blue fire wolves were constantly emerging from the forest. Damn it! Don't tell me all the blue fire wolves are coming. Qin Yu stared at the blue fire wolves rushing towards them from afar. He was very anxious. There were more than 1,000 blue fire wolves in the forest. Moreover, even the weakest blue fire wolves were in the Xiantian realm. The strongest blue fire wolves had reached the limit of the Xiantian realm. Once this pack of blue fire wolves attacked, as long as there were nearly 100 of them, even Qin Yu would be injured. Once several hundred of them attacked, Qin Yu would be miserable. There are so many blue fire wolves. I can't stop them in a short time. If Xiao He's tribulation is disturbed, then... Qin Yu became anxious. Once dozens of blue fire wolves attacked, no matter how powerful Qin Yu was, he could only block a few of them at the same time. Xiao He was about to undergo his tribulation. Just now, it was only the first and second lightning that were weaker. The truly powerful third and fourth lightning had not even appeared yet. If Xiao He was attacked by the blue fire wolves, then it would be terrible. This pack of wolves is taking advantage of the situation. Qin Yu shouted angrily. 108 chi pillars surrounded his body at the same time, forming a tricolored armor. Qin Yu moved his body and used the 7 stars of the Big Dipper moonlight dance. His entire body was like the shadow of the moon, ethereal and unreal. In an instant, he arrived in the middle of the pack of wolves. Qin Yu's body emitted a purple jade light. The flaming gloves completely appeared. Now was not the time to hide his strength. Gotcha! Qin Yu used his left hand to crush the throat of a blue fire wolf. Then, his right hand moved like a flood dragon coming out of its cave. His right hand, which had the strongest penetrating power, pierced through the flaming gloves and pierced the head of a blue fire wolf. Bang! A big hole appeared in the head of that blue fire wolf. The inside of the head was shattered. The first 100 over blue fire wolves that appeared completely surrounded Qin Yu and attacked him crazily. Roar! The strongest wolf among the 100 over blue fire wolves surrounding him howled. Immediately, all the blue fire wolves stopped attacking. In just a moment, Qin Yu killed over 10 blue fire wolves. However, there were traces of blood on Qin Yu's body. Those blue fire wolves' claws were too powerful. What are these blue fire wolves doing? Qin Yu looks at the blue flame wolves around him. This group of over 100 blue flame wolves have surrounded him in 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, but they do not attack him. Blue fire wolves were still constantly rushing out from the forest. In just a short while, including the blue fire wolves that were attacking Qin Yu, the total number of blue fire wolves had reached 300 to 400. This time, the blue fire wolves were clearly preparing to finish the job once and for all. They wanted to eliminate Qin Yu and the Black Eagle. Over 100 blue fire wolves surrounded Qin Yu. The other blue fire wolves ignored Qin Yu and directly rushed towards Xiao He. Not good. Qin Yu knew that things were not good. He was currently completely surrounded by the blue fire wolves and was unable to protect Xiao He. Furthermore, Xiao He was undergoing his tribulation. How could Xiao He be at ease while facing the attacks of over 100 blue fire wolves? Even during normal times, it would be very dangerous for Xiao He to face over 100 blue fire wolves at the same time, let alone now. Scram! Qin Yu clenched his teeth. The energy in his body completely erupted. With a furious shout, he transformed into a bolt of lightning and directly rushed towards Xiao He. At the same time, Ayo! The leader of the blue fire wolves howled. The over 100 blue fire wolves changed from their original state of encirclement to a state of frenzied attack. Over 100 blue fire wolves recklessly attacked Qin Yu from all directions. Clawing, biting, tearing. They used everything they had. For a moment, Qin Yu only felt that the sky was covered by wolf shadows from all directions. Countless wolf claws were waving at Qin Yu's body. 108 tri-colored energy pillars revolved around his body. Within the range of the energy pillars, Qin Yu's entire body suddenly transformed into numerous illusions. Qin Yu's hands were also like the thousand-hand guanyin. They were either fingers, fists, claws, iron fists, or palm blades. Boom! The dozens of blue fire wolves closest to Qin Yu all flew away in all directions with a loud rumble. At the same time, they separated the other blue fire wolves. At this moment, Qin Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at the surrounding blue fire wolves. At the same time, his spiritual awareness was also paying attention to his surroundings. The blue flame wolves in the surroundings attacked Qin Yu even more crazily. Qin Yu's close combat skills have been performed to the extreme. The flaming gloves are even more powerful. With a punch, even a blue flame wolf's head will be smashed into pieces. With the sound of bones shattering, a blue fire wolf's throat was broken and it fell to the ground. It even howled for a while. His leg was like a knife. With a knife kick, he directly chopped off the spine of a blue fire wolf, causing it to fall to the ground and unable to get up again. Qin Yu's figure moved within a 3-step radius, creating numerous illusions. Although the range was small, those blue fire wolves were often just a little bit weaker. After continuously killing dozens of blue fire wolves, Qin Yu's clothes were torn and a wound even appeared on his chest. Blood slowly flowed out. Blue fire wolves were also divided into the strong and the weak. The strong had reached the limit of the Xiantian level. Qin Yu did not dare to block that claw. The wound on Qin Yu's chest was caused by a blue fire wolf that was around the late stage of the Xiantian level. Of course, the ending of this blue fire wolf was needless to say. Its head was directly chopped off by Qin Yu. Scram! Qin Yu once again released the purple Zhen Qi in his body. In an instant, his speed increased exponentially. Once again, he killed or crippled the dozens of blue fire wolves closest to him. For a moment, those blue fire wolves paused slightly and actually stopped attacking. Xiao He. Qin Yu noticed Xiao Hei's situation and immediately became anxious. More than 100 blue fire wolves pounced towards Xiao He as if their lives depended on it. Rumble. The purple tribulation cloud rolled rapidly. Its imposing aura seemed to be substantial and oppressive. Qin Yu knew that the third tribulation lightning was about to strike. But at this moment, more than 100 blue fire wolves actually took the opportunity to attack Xiao He. Xiao He raised his head and let out a cry. Suddenly, he flapped his huge wings and unexpectedly formed a strong whirlwind that sent those blue fire wolves flying back. However, these blue fire wolves were not ordinary wolves. Each and every one of them was a Xiantian-level demon beast from the wilderness. These blue fire wolves somersaulted in the air and landed on the ground. Then, they once again pounced towards Xiao He while howling and biting. Xiao He flapped his wings and soared into the sky, flying dozens of meters high. Those blue fire wolves also jumped up. Although they were powerful, they could only jump 7 or 8 meters. They were far from Xiao Hei's height. Boom! A huge purple thunderbolt emerged from the tribulation cloud and directly struck down towards Xiao He. Not good. Qin Yu's complexion changed. He had read some important points about tribulation transcendence in Lei Wei's collection. Tribulation transcendence in the air was much more dangerous than tribulation transcendence on the ground. But a black eagle was a bird and not a human. Maybe it would be better. But Qin Yu was also uncertain. Xiao He let out a mournful cry. His wings flashed with dazzling lightning. His wings directly closed together and formed a shield to block the tribulation lightning. Boom! The purple thunderbolt was like the hammer of Thor. With a loud bang, it smashed Xiao Hei's wings. Xiao He flew in a straight line and with a pang sound, he was smashed to the ground from the sky, causing the ground to shake. This third tribulation lightning was much more powerful than the second tribulation lightning. Xiao He was only able to dissipate a small portion of the lightning. He was still forced to endure the majority of it. Xiao He. Qin Yu was shocked. Oh. The blue fire wolf leader, standing proudly on a huge rock by the lake, continuously howled. The blue fire wolves in the mountain forest were still constantly rushing out, as if there was no end. At this moment, the number of blue fire wolves rushing out had already reached 600 to 700. Following the howls of the blue fire wolf leader, close to 400 blue fire wolves surrounded Qin Yu. Another 200 to 300 attacked Xiao He. Several hundred blue fire wolves howled and pounced towards the black eagle that had fallen to the ground. In an instant, several dozen blue fire wolves pounced on the black eagle's body, revealing their sharp fangs and starting to bite. 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, several hundred blue fire wolves had completely surrounded Qin Yu. Qin Yu was completely unable to escape from this encirclement. The strangest thing was that these several hundred blue fire wolves only surrounded Qin Yu and did not attack. Xiao He. Seeing countless wolves pouncing towards Xiao He, Qin Yu's heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. Xiao He was Qin Yu's best friend. From childhood until now, Qin Yu had spent most of his time with Xiao He. Qin Yu swept his gaze over the several hundred blue fire wolves, his killing intent surging. Suddenly, a sharp eagle's cry soared into the sky. Streaks of purple lightning completely exploded, flowing between the bodies of the blue fire wolves that were pouncing on Blackie's body. Only a series of mournful howls could be heard, and those blue fire wolves started to twitch. Then, with a boom, Blackie's huge wings flapped, and dozens of blue fire wolves were blown away. Xiao He looked towards Qin Yu, his pair of eagle eyes emitting human emotions. Qin Yu could clearly feel Xiao He's emotions. Ha ha. Xiao He, don't worry, it's just a few hundred wolf pups. Don't worry about your tribulation, I'll exterminate them. Qin Yu's heroic spirit soared to the heavens. It's been a long time since I felt my blood boil like this. Qin Yu's entire body was surging with energy. The blue fire wolf leader also seemed to feel that something was wrong. It immediately howled, and several hundred blue fire wolves immediately attacked Qin Yu like moths to a flame. Lu Xing's tears, please. Qin Yu secretly said in his heart. The wound on Qin Yu's chest just now had completely healed in a short while, leaving only a faint scar. Lu Xing's tears' ability to heal injuries was what Qin Yu relied on the most. Qin Yu's entire body began to move. After images, fist shadows, leg shadows, sword shadows. Wherever the shadows passed, the blue fire wolves would howl and fall to the ground. They would either die or roll around and howl. With 108 streams of air surrounding his body, Qin Yu's speed combined with his body movements had already reached a terrifying level. His killing moves were as light as a feather. A light tap of his finger or a casual slash of the flaming sword were all fatal moves. Awoo! The blue fire wolf leader howled even more urgently. The several hundred blue fire wolves increased their speed as they crazily tore at Qin Yu. The death of their companions and the blood of their companions would only make them crazier. They didn't care about their own lives. These blue fire wolves only wanted to leave scars on Qin Yu's body. Using both the flaming gloves and the flaming sword, Qin Yu unleashed his strongest attack. Puchi, a blue fire wolf clawed Qin Yu's abdomen, and blood immediately gushed out. Puchi. A sword shadow flashed past, and that blue fire wolf's head fell to the ground. It's actually a Peak Xiantian blue fire wolf. Its attack power is almost the same as that of the blue fire wolf leader. Qin Yu immediately hit his acupoints, trying his best to slow down the blood flow in his body. However, the wound on his abdomen was really too big, and with so many blue fire wolves attacking him without any regard for their lives, he simply didn't have time to heal it. Xiao He let out a mournful eagle cry, and there were also 200 to 300 blue fire wolves around it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thunder rumbled, and a wave of pressure once again covered the area. Even the blue fire wolves slowed down a bit. Obviously, the fourth bolt of lightning of the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation was about to descend. Xiao Hei couldn't care about anything else, and could only soar into the air to prepare for the fourth bolt of lightning. Chapter 74. A cool and refreshing feeling came from the wound on his abdomen. Streams of clear water flowed out from the Lu Xing's tears and merged into the wound. Qin Yu's wound was recovering at a visible speed, and the bleeding rate also began to slow down. This pack of wolf pups is really hard to deal with. Qin Yu cursed in a low voice, and his attacks became even more ruthless. He simply didn't dare to stop fighting, and his speed had completely reached the limit. He kept moving, and at the same time, used the flaming gloves and flaming sword to kill these blue fire wolves. The flaming gloves and flaming sword, a mid-grade spirit weapon, were extremely powerful. Just now, there were 400 to 500 blue fire wolves surrounding Qin Yu, but in a short period of time, Qin Yu had already killed over 100 blue fire wolves. "Awoo, awoo, awoo," the blue fire wolf leader howled again. Immediately, all the blue fire wolves surrounded Qin Yu, and blue fire wolves continued to emerge from the mountain forest. The number of blue fire wolves kept increasing, and now there were over 800 of them. In addition, Qin Yu had already killed over 100 blue fire wolves. In other words, this time, the entire blue fire wolf tribe in the mountain forest was probably mobilized. Pucci, feeling a burning sensation on his back, Qin Yu's spiritual sense clearly discovered that his back was cut open. Immediately, his body flashed, and his right hand simply waved his sword. That blue fire wolf immediately howled a few times and fell to the ground, and Qin Yu's figure once again moved several meters away. Speed. Speed. When surrounded, he could only rely on his speed to constantly move, and try his best to keep the number of enemies to a small number at a time. Once he stopped moving, with so many blue fire wolves charging at him, Qin Yu wouldn't be able to do anything no matter how powerful he was. Pucci, 2 consecutive wounds appeared on Qin Yu's abdomen. A blue fire wolf fiercely bit Qin Yu's abdomen. Qin Yu's left hand formed a knife, and the purple Zhen Qi formed a sharp blade on the edge of Qin Yu's palm. With a chop, Qin Yu directly chopped off the blue fire wolf's head. However, the blue fire wolf's teeth were still biting Qin Yu's abdomen, causing Qin Yu to feel a burst of intense pain. Blood continuously flowed out. Qin Yu simply did not have the time to cut off the blue fire wolf's head. After all, they were surrounded by blue fire wolves. Awoo! The blue fire wolf leader seemed to have foreseen the arrival of victory, and immediately howled loudly. Immediately, dozens of blue fire wolves leapt into the air, directly pouncing towards Qin Yu from above. Those sharp wolf fangs and ice-cold claws directly greeted Qin Yu's body, while the dozens of blue fire wolves on the ground simultaneously attacked Qin Yu. In all directions, he could not ascend to the heavens. Unable to penetrate the earth. Ha! A hint of viciousness flashed through Qin Yu's eyes. Wearing the flaming gloves, his pair of invincible iron fists completely impacted Qin Yu's fastest speed. In a split second, Qin Yu's hands seemed to have turned into dozens of hands, eagle claws, finger swords. Bang! A hole appeared in the throat of a blue fire wolf that leapt into the air. Blood spurted out in all directions like a fountain, and the entire battlefield was completely filled with the smell of blood. One of the blue fire wolf's legs was actually grabbed by Qin Yu. Qin Yu let out a low roar, and as if he was waving a whip, he grabbed the blue fire wolf's leg and fiercely swung it a few times. Then, the purple Zhen Qi in his body was completely poured into Qin Yu's single hand, and the strength of over 10,000 jin that came from the peak of the Xiantian realm completely erupted. Qin Yu threw this half-dead blue fire wolf out like a weapon. Bang! The purple Zhen Qi and the strength of over 10,000 jin exploded, and the blue fire wolf's body exploded. Every piece of flesh and bone shot out in all directions like a hidden weapon. The blue fire wolves howled, and at the same time, a group of blue fire wolves was smashed down. However, even more blue fire wolves crazily bit Qin Yu, and the wounds on Qin Yu's body continued to increase. Fortunately, he had Lu Xing's tears. Some of the smaller wounds quickly formed scabs, but the larger wounds needed a period of time to heal. No matter how powerful Lu Xing's tears were, they couldn't compare to the continuous attacks of so many blue fire wolves. In mid-air, Xiao He saw that Qin Yu was surrounded and attacked by several hundred blue fire wolves. His entire body was covered in blood, and there was a shocking wound on his abdomen. He couldn't help but let out a mournful cry. However, the crazily rolling tribulation clouds and the terrifying aura all indicated that the fourth tribulation lightning was about to descend. Boom! The purple lightning was like a winding dragon in the 9 heavens. It rushed down from the tribulation clouds in the sky, carrying an aura that could destroy heaven and earth as it brazenly blasted towards Xiao He. Suddenly, a shocking eagle cry sounded. The sound was extremely ear-piercing, but there was an arrogant and domineering aura. That aura actually caused the 600 to 700 blue fire wolves to pause. Qin Yu's spiritual sense was constantly observing Xiao He. Facing the fourth tribulation lightning, Xiao He's steel-like wings emitted streaks of thunder fire. This so-called thunder fire was not a combination of lightning and fire. Instead, it was a flickering lightning with a burning flame surrounding it. Dazzling thunder fire emerged from Xiao He's body and condensed into one. Like half of a flood dragon, it soared into the sky and collided with the fourth tribulation lightning. Boom! The thunder fire dispersed, but the power of the fourth tribulation lightning was also greatly reduced. In that instant, Xiao He's wings actually began to vibrate at an extremely fast speed. Qin Yu's spiritual sense clearly discovered that Xiao He's wings had unexpectedly turned into 9 afterimages. Pang! 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 9 consecutive collisions. The frequency of Xiao He's wings was so fast that even Qin Yu was extremely shocked. After 9 collisions, the fourth tribulation lightning, which was greatly reduced in power, was almost completely neutralized. The remaining lightning was directly swallowed by Xiao He. The 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation, Xiao He had successfully passed. When did Xiao He become so strong? Qin Yu was indescribably shocked. Qin Yu was very clear that Xiao He had always been following him. Xiao He did not have any special skills. In that instant just now, not only did Xiao He use Thunderfire, he also used an extremely brilliant skill. In that instant, his wings vibrated 9 times. One must know that the time was extremely short. Pucci, Qin Yu felt another wave of intense pain on his back. Just now, he was slightly distracted and was unexpectedly hit again. This pack of wolf pups. Qin Yu cursed angrily in his heart. Now that Xiao He had successfully passed the tribulation, Qin Yu was also relieved. At this moment, he wholeheartedly immersed himself in the battle. His speed actually increased slightly again. Within the pack of hundreds of blue fire wolves, blood splattered everywhere, and broken limbs flew everywhere. Suddenly, an eagle's cry soared into the sky. Xiao He, who had just passed the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation, spread out his wings and swooped down with extreme speed. When he was about to approach the pack of blue fire wolves again, Xiao He's wings once again vibrated extremely slightly. Like a lightning zigzag. Swish. Even Qin Yu could only see a continuous flash of black light. Then, dozens of blue fire wolves were cut into 2 or 3 pieces. These blue fire wolves were sliced apart as if they were cut by a sharp knife. All the blue fire wolves were stunned. Xiao He. Qin Yu was astonished. Xiao He flew high in the sky and once again let out a cry. Once again, he used the supreme skill from before. This time, Qin Yu observed very carefully with his spiritual awareness. He clearly saw that Xiao He's wings rapidly vibrated according to a miraculous trajectory. Like a flash of black lightning, Xiao He directly passed through the pack of blue fire wolves. Xiao He's wings were very hard. Now, they had even reached the level of a spiritual weapon. The wings were like sharp knives. When they flew past, they directly cut the blue fire wolves into several pieces. Ao! The blue fire wolf leader immediately let out a loud cry. This blue fire wolf leader's intelligence was not low. It could see that the black eagle, which was originally a threat, had undergone a transformation after the 4 and 9 heavenly tribulation. The black eagle could fly, but they, the blue fire wolves, could not. The Black Eagle only needed to swoop down a dozen times to kill hundreds of blue fire wolves. Following the howl of the blue fire wolf leader, the hundreds of blue fire wolves immediately retreated rapidly, one by one running directly into the mountain forest. Whoosh! Whoosh! Like a glider, Xiao Hei rapidly passed through the pack of blue fire wolves twice in a row, causing the deaths of nearly 100 blue fire wolves. Then, these blue fire wolves all escaped into the mountain forest. The original battlefield was left with 400 to 500 blue fire wolves' corpses. Xiao Hei let out another cry, as if it was about to rush into the mountain forest. Xiao Hei, no need to chase. Qin Yu's facial muscles twitched slightly. At this moment, Qin Yu's body was covered with over 100 wounds. However, most of them were just superficial wounds. There were 4 or 5 wounds that were especially serious. Fortunately, Lu Xing's tears continuously released streams of clear water to heal them. Xiao Hei flapped its wings and flew across the lake. Then, it landed beside Qin Yu. Xiao Hei stared at Qin Yu's wounds and seemed to be a little worried. It's nothing, just some superficial wounds. I didn't die even after my heart was pierced. This little wound is nothing. Let's go back and take a rest. Qin Yu laughed out loud. Then, he immediately returned to Lei Mountain House with Xiao Hei, leaving behind the corpses of the blue fire wolves. In this battle, Qin Yu had killed 300 to 400 blue fire wolves. Qin Yu was an external expert who had reached the pinnacle of the Xiantian realm. He had practiced the Trans-Heaven 3 diagrams to the pinnacle. His muscles were as tough as diamond. In addition, his purple Zhen Qi had formed a protective aura around his body. Therefore, ordinary blue fire wolves in the early and middle stages of the Xiantian realm could only leave some superficial wounds on Qin Yu's body and restrict Qin Yu's movements. Only blue fire wolves in the late and pinnacle stages of the Xiantian realm could really hurt Qin Yu. Moreover, Qin Yu was an expert in group battles. In addition, he had 2 middle-grade spirit weapons and Lu Xing's tears, which were constantly healing his wounds. It was normal for him to have such a battle record. In the training hall of Lei Mountain House, Qin Yu sat cross-legged on the ground and meditated. Xiao Hei was also standing beside him. The wings on his body were emitting rays of light. Obviously, he was meditating. After half an hour, the numerous wounds on Qin Yu's body had almost all disappeared. Even the huge wounds on his body were now only a few faint scars. Lu Xing's tears were indeed miraculous. As the clear stream flowed through his body, a numbing feeling was constantly produced in those wounds. Qin Yu enjoyed that feeling. After such a crazy battle, Qin Yu felt that his purple Zhen Qi had become purer. Hello, hello. A slightly stuttering and cold voice suddenly sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Qin Yu was shocked. Someone's here. He immediately opened his eyes and looked around. Suddenly, he found that Xiao Hei was staring at him. His eyes were full of excitement. Qin Yu's heart skipped a beat. He thought of a possibility, but he found it hard to believe. Xiao Hei, is that you? Qin Yu stood up and looked at Xiao Hei in disbelief. Yes, it's me. I've given myself a name. I'm called Kuro. Xiao Hei was a little nervous at first, but then he felt better. He named himself Kuro because Qin Yu's name was Yu. Ha ha, great, great. Qin Yu's eyes were shining with excitement. He then hugged Xiao Hei and said, From now on, we can communicate freely. That's great. Haha, Xiao Hei, I'm 7 years older than you. Call me Big Brother. Haha, quickly call me Big Brother. Qin Yu said excitedly. Xiao Hei was also a little excited. After a long time, he finally said with his spiritual sense, Big Brother. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei were also excited for a long time. Then Qin Yu began to ask some doubts in his heart. Xiao Hei, why did your voice sound in my mind? Also, when you were crossing the tribulation, why did you suddenly become so powerful? I don't remember you being so powerful in the past. Qin Yu was very curious. Right, I remember that after crossing the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation, many demon beasts can transform into a human. Why didn't you? Xiao Hei was stunned. Qin Yu knew that he asked too many questions. He immediately said, "Don't worry, tell me one by one." Xiao Hei thought for a while and said, "I just reached the Jin Dan stage. Naturally, I have the ability to transmit my spiritual sense. Unfortunately, I need to cross the 9 heavenly tribulation to transform into a human. Also, when I was crossing the tribulation, many demon beast cultivation methods that are suitable for me suddenly appeared in my mind. Some of the most basic ones, I naturally used them. You can only transform into a human after crossing the 9 heavenly tribulation?" Qin Yu was surprised. He also read some cultivation books. The more powerful the demon beast, the harder it is to transform into a human. Some weak demon beasts can easily transform into a human. It seems that Xiao Hei should be a relatively powerful demon beast. Unfortunately, Qin Yu didn't know what Xiao Hei's first sentence meant. A suitable cultivation method will naturally appear in my mind. If it was a knowledgeable cultivator, he might know the meaning of inherited memory. Can you only transmit your spiritual sense? Can you not speak? Qin Yu asked. Xiao Hei shook his head helplessly and said, "I can't. My throat is different from a human's. It's very difficult for me to speak human language. I can only transmit my spiritual sense." "But isn't it very good to transmit my spiritual sense? I can say it as soon as I think about it. It's much faster." Qin Yu could only nod his head. "Well, Xiao Hei, you first stay in Thunder Mountain residence and cultivate. There are still more than 2 months before I'm going to cross the tribulation. During this time, I have to cultivate seriously," Qin Yu said to Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei repeatedly nodded his head. He transmitted his spiritual sense. "Big brother, don't worry and cultivate. I've just reached the Jin Dan stage. I also have a lot of things to do." Xiao Hei had a lot of suitable cultivation methods in his mind. Naturally, he had to study them well. Qin Yu was also quietly cultivating in Thunder Mountain residence, waiting for the 4 heavenly tribulation in more than 2 months. Time passed day by day. Xiao Hei and Qin Yu didn't pay attention to what was happening outside. They just focused on cultivating. The surroundings of Thunder Mountain residence were also very quiet. The blue fire wolves didn't dare to come here again. On the contrary, at the moment, the Chu kingdom on the Qianlong continent was surging with undercurrents. Chapter 75. Haha, the heavens are helping me, the heavens are helping me. This is really very good. Very good. Holding the secret letter in his hand, the Chu Emperor Xiongguang is so excited that he is unable to control himself. The hook-nosed man on one side also says respectfully, "The heavens want to destroy the Qin clan. After all, you're the true son of heaven." At the moment Xiongguang is in high spirits. "Qinda, oh Qinda, you've been smart all your life but you've been defeated by me several times. In the end, even your Qin clan's several hundred years of foundation will be ruined." Normally, even if Xiongguang is given a lot of courage, he would not dare to wantonly start a war. After all, the Qin clan has many troops. Moreover, they have been training on the edge of the wilderness for many years, so the troops of the other 3 big clans cannot compare with them. "Your Majesty, this time North Vanquishing Prince and Qinda have a secret meeting. Qinda wants to dispatch 300,000 troops from North Vanquishing Prince's territory to attack us." 300,000 troops. Do you think North Vanquishing Prince will be defeated by Qinda's troops when he changes sides? Qinda's troops are still very powerful. The hook-nosed man says in a low voice. That secret letter is sent by Shangguan Hong. It talks about the recent meeting between him and Qinda as well as the contents of the meeting. Xiongguang ponders for a while then says smilingly, "Don't worry. The Shangguan clan has a very deep relationship with my Xiong clan. Moreover, Qinda's troops have entered North Vanquishing Prince's territory so he won't be able to do anything. At that time, I'll send my Xiong clan's troops to attack him from both inside and outside with the Shangguan clan. Humph, once the 300,000 troops are destroyed, the Qin clan will lose half of its troops." "Right, I asked you to rope in the Black Water Bandits. How's it going? The hook-nosed man hurriedly says, Your Majesty, when those Black Water Bandits heard that your Majesty agreed to their request, they made me swear an oath of blood. Don't worry, Your Majesty. Once they swear an oath of blood, these Jianghu people will attach great importance to it. Xiang Guang immediately gives a satisfied smile. Very good. With the Black Water Bandits in the Qin clan's territory, those 200,000 troops of the Qin clan won't be able to move. Otherwise, their nest will be in chaos. Even if they recruit 200,000 more troops, they'll only be able to use 600,000 troops. Humph, what's the use of the fierce tiger troops? Let's see how the Qin clan's troops to fight against me then? Your Majesty is wise. The hook-nosed man bowed. Xiang Guang nods his head in satisfaction and says, Very good. This time you did very well in roping in those Black Water Bandits. I'll reward you if you make a contribution. I heard you like Yan Shiji's paintings, so I'll give you this painting of mother and son. While saying, Xiang Guang takes the scroll from the table and hands it directly to the hook-nosed man. Thank you for your grace, Your Majesty. The hook-nosed man immediately took the painting. All right, go ahead. Xiang Guang says with a wave of his sleeve. At the moment, Xiang Guang is in a particularly good mood. Seeing the hook-nosed man leave, Xiang Guang says again, Right, if you have time, you should take a look at this mother and son painting to comprehend the essence of Master Yan Shiji's painting. Yes. The hook-nosed man replied immediately and walked out of the imperial study. On the way home, the hook-nosed man sneered in his heart. A picture of mother and child? Xiang Guangxin is too ruthless. What the hook-nosed man values the most is his wife and child, so he naturally understands why Xiang Guang gave him this picture of mother and child. With a grim expression, Zhao Yunqing looks at the military map on the wall. General. A young man bows behind Zhao Yunqing and says, What's the matter? Zhao Yunqing says indifferently. That young man says, General, His Highness ordered us to enter the 2 northern region counties together with another army. I think it's somewhat inappropriate. What's inappropriate? A faint smile appears on the corners of Zhao Yunqing's mouth, but he still does not turn around. That young man straightens his body at once and says, His Highness negotiated with the Shangguan clan and let us enter the Shangguan clan's territory to attack the Xiong clan. But is the Shangguan clan really on our side? If the Shangguan clan pretends to be on our side but is actually on the Xiong clan's side, then things will be terrible. After all, the 2 northern region counties are the Shangguan clan's territory. Could it be that you think His Highness hasn't thought of this point? Zhao Yunqing asks in reply. That young man says at once, Of course His Highness has thought of this point. But the Mu clan in the 3 southern region counties is extremely loyal to the Xiong clan. When the 2 clans unite, they have more than half of the Chu kingdom's military power. His Highness has no choice but to rely on North vanquishing Prince. I think even though His Highness has thought of this point, he has been forced by the situation to cooperate with the Shangguan clan. But when the war starts and the Shangguan clan changes sides, we'll be miserable. Yen Yun, His Highness's point of view is different from yours. His Highness overlooks the whole situation, so everything is under his control. If His Highness wants to start a war, how can such a trivial matter be difficult for him? After 2 months, you'll naturally understand everything. Zhao Yunqing turns around and says smilingly. A faint relaxed smile immediately appears on the young man's face. Since His Highness has the pearl of wisdom in his hands, I can set my mind at ease. All right, Yen Yun, you can go back first. Zhao Yunqing says smilingly. Yes. The young man turns around and leaves. When he reaches the door, he stops. He turns around and looks at Zhao Yunqing, saying in a low voice, Father, it's already midnight. You'd better go to bed early. A war is imminent. Your health is more important. After saying so, the young man leaves. Hearing this, a faint smile appears on Zhao Yunqing's face. Even though Zhao Yunqing's son Zhao Yunqing is also in the army, he has ordered that father and son are only superior and subordinate in the army. Therefore, Zhao Yenyun usually calls him General Zhao Yunqing. With the war imminent, the Qin clan and the Xiong clan secretly fight each other. Their spies and intelligence personnel are also fully active. Some of them secretly bribe some important personnel with a large sum of money, frame the enemy's generals or assassinate important members of the enemy. They are very familiar with sowing dissension and seducing women. Following the mobilization of the Qin clan's army on the border of the wilderness, the whole Chu kingdom is shrouded in a layer of oppression. The Qin clan tried to rope in the Blackwater Mountain Range bandits by giving them a large sum of money, but the Blackwater bandits unexpectedly accepted it. However, the Xiong clan is not angry at all about this. Moreover, the Heavenly Net, the #1 assassin organization, has also announced to the public that it will not accept any missions related to the Chu kingdom for the time being. In short, almost everybody can feel the oppression of the coming storm. Perhaps Qin Yu, who is quietly practicing in the wilderness, cannot feel this kind of atmosphere. On the blue water lake next to Lei Mountain House, Qin Yu is sitting with legs crossed on the water but does not sink down. Various purple streams of air are revolving around his body. These purple streams of air are none other than the purple internal qi inside Qin Yu's body. After several months of practice, Qin Yu's purple Xiantian internal qi is like mercury, almost liquefied. A powerful force is surging inside his body. Qin Yu can feel the surging muscle energy in his muscles and even in his cells. The purple internal qi is circulating everywhere, constantly purifying his muscles and bones. Suddenly, a wind blows, causing waves to appear on the surface of the lake. The lake water rises and falls slightly. Qin Yu is sitting with legs crossed on the surface of the lake, but his body rises and falls with the lake water like duckweed. Hoo! A fierce wind blows. With a boom, huge waves appear on the surface of the lake. Each wave is more than 10 m high. The entire lake looks like it has been raised by a giant. No matter how powerful Qin Yu is, he is no longer as free and easy as before. He immediately pushes the surface of the lake with his feet and rushes directly to the lakeside. At the same time, he stares helplessly at Xiao He, the initiator of this. Xiao He, I know your wings can raise fierce winds, but don't play tricks on me, okay? Qin Yu stares at Xiao He, who is flapping his wings, and says helplessly. Xiao He folds his wings. The lake water immediately calms down. Xiao He, who has formed the Jin Dan and practiced several kinds of martial arts from his inherited memories, has become even more arrogant and fierce. Now Qin Yu is far from being a match for Xiao He. Big brother, I'm just training your vigilance. I'm doing this for your own good. Are you blaming me for this? Xiao He's voice rang out in Qin Yu's mind. Qin Yu jokingly said, Fine. Now that you have passed the heavenly tribulation, you are stronger than me. I won't fight with you. Tomorrow night, I will also undergo the heavenly tribulation. Once I pass the heavenly tribulation and cultivate the astral transformations, I will let you know how powerful I am. Astral transformations? Big brother, I have many mystical martial arts that I practice. They are not inferior to your astral transformations. Xiao He proudly flaps his wings and says. After forming the Jin Dan, Xiao He has been practicing some secret techniques for the past 2 months. His strength has increased by leaps and bounds. At this moment, he is very confident. Qin Yu smiles. When the time comes, won't we know who is more powerful? During this period of time, Qin Yu has carefully read many books about cultivation. Of course, he has read the astral transformations from beginning to end. Not only have he memorized some of the incantations and cultivation methods, but he has also memorized some of the insights that Lei Wei had when he was practicing or undergoing the heavenly tribulation. Qin Yu has become more confident about the upcoming 49 heavenly tribulations. On the second day, Qin Yu has been quietly sitting cross-legged on the grassland by the Jade Lake, waiting for the arrival of the heavenly tribulation. On this day, Xiao He also did not disturb Qin Yu, but practiced peacefully on the side. Last time, Qin Yu protected him. This time, he will protect Qin Yu. Under the setting sun, the whole untainted land was illuminated with a bright red color. A fierce wind rises out of nowhere. The huge trees in the mountain forest in the surroundings start to sway crazily. Their leaves also fall down in all directions. Kocha. Sounds of huge trees breaking are also heard continuously. The sky darkens in an instant. The great change in the weather makes Qin Yu and Xiao Hei stop practicing. Haha, the heavenly tribulation is finally coming. Xiao Hei, this time you watch carefully. If any demonic beasts come, kill them all for me. Qin Yu shouts loudly. Xiao Hei flaps his wings and says with his holy sense, "Don't worry, big brother. The area within a radius of several hundred miles is my territory. No demonic beasts dare to disturb us. If any demonic beast comes, I will exterminate its clan." During this period of time, the area within a radius of several hundred miles has indeed become Xiao Hei's territory. The sky turns dark red, giving people a sense of oppression. A huge whirlpool appears in the middle of the sky. Snakes of lightning appear in the dark red sky and are absorbed by the whirlpool. After a while, the whirlpool stops rotating and turns into a huge purple tribulation cloud. The dark red sky, the purple tribulation cloud, and the flickering snakes of lightning. All of these indicate the arrival of the heavenly tribulation. Qin Yu stands quietly, motionless. Xiao Hei spreads out his holy sense, paying attention to everything around him. No matter what, he will not allow any demonic beasts to come near and disturb them. How strong would the heavenly tribulation be when a Xiantian external expert cultivates to the extreme? It should be known that the heavenly tribulation is generally different for different people. Qin Yu is much stronger than an ordinary Xiantian peak expert, so how strong would the power of the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation be? The first heavenly tribulation is the weakest and also the easiest. Qin Yu looks up at the tribulation cloud with a smile on his face. He clearly remembers some of Lei Wei's descriptions of heavenly tribulation in Stellar Transformations, and even proposes some methods of heavenly tribulation. Qin Yu decides to face the first heavenly tribulation with one of the most exaggerated methods. The tribulation cloud rolls, the low thunder rumbles, and the pressure directly covers the ground below. Boom! A purple lightning bolt immediately strikes down from the sky at an extremely fast speed. It strikes down at Qin Yu's head. Qin Yu, however, raises his head and looks at that purple lightning bolt. He is unexpectedly motionless. However, there is a trace of madness in his eyes. The purple thunderbolt blasts directly on Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu's body is completely covered by the purple thunderbolt. Haha, awesome, awesome, awesome. Qin Yu doesn't have any defense, completely withstanding it with his body. If he can't even withstand the first heavenly tribulation with his Xiantian external strength, then his Xiantian external strength is cultivated in vain. The Stellar Transformations once said that using the power of heavenly tribulation to refine the body is very beneficial for improving one's strength. Of course, the power of heavenly tribulation can't be too strong, otherwise Qin Yu's body can't bear it. His muscles and bones crackle as the thunderbolt shuttles through the muscle cells, and a lot of thunderbolt energy is absorbed. His already strong muscles suddenly change, becoming even stronger. Awesome, really awesome. Xiao Hei, how about my method of withstanding the first heavenly tribulation? Qin Yu is still in the mood to joke with Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei doesn't say anything, but pays attention to the surroundings with his soul sense. Qin Yu withstands the first heavenly tribulation like this. Not only does it not consume the energy in his body, but it also increases the strength of his muscles and his strength. Others have to consume energy for each tribulation, but Qin Yu's strength increases. This is the difference between them. Big brother, be careful. The second heavenly tribulation is much stronger than the first. You can't use the same method again. Xiao Hei reminded. At this moment, the tribulation clouds in the sky are rolling. Obviously, the second heavenly tribulation is brewing. The first heavenly tribulation can be absorbed like this, but the second heavenly tribulation is more powerful. Qin Yu doesn't dare to be as arrogant as before and let the thunderbolt strike him. Don't worry, I know when to stop. Qin Yu can feel Xiao Hei's concern. Thunder rumbles, the pressure on the ground increases again. The second heavenly tribulation is about to strike. Qin Yu immediately enters the state of mind and body, preparing to withstand the second heavenly tribulation. Along with the sound of thunder, a purple flood dragon suddenly rushes out of the tribulation clouds, directly towards Qin Yu. Come! A glint of excitement flashed across Qin Yu's eyes, and the energy within his body suddenly surged. His whole body suddenly glowed with purple light, becoming like a purple jade. Purple primary energy instantly covered his whole body, forming a shield of astral energy. Occasionally, strands of lightning would even circle the surface of his body. Chapter 76. The purple heavenly thunder was like the sledgehammer of the thunder god, fiercely smashing Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu's purple protective aura chi was torn apart like paper in just a moment, and the thunder and lightning completely hit Qin Yu's chest. Compared to the first heavenly thunder, Qin Yu's body was completely integrated with the purple true chi this time. Like a purple jade, his defensive power was also increased. At first, the protective aura chi also offset some of the thunder and lightning, but the second heavenly thunder was really a bit more powerful. I was careless. Qin Yu slightly frowned. The smell of cooked meat came, and at the same time, a burst of burning feeling came from his skin. The power of the thunder and lightning burned Qin Yu's skin, and even his muscles were a bit damaged. Big brother. Xiao Hei saw the burn on Qin Yu's chest and couldn't help but feel nervous. It's okay, just a flesh wound. Qin Yu didn't care. Xiao Hei slightly breathed a sigh of relief, and then carefully told him, Big brother, this heavenly tribulation is not a small matter. Don't you have a middle-grade spirit weapon? If you don't use it, even if your body is strong, you will still be injured. Qin Yu slightly smiled and said, I was a bit careless just now. I originally thought that the purple true chi and the protective aura chi could fend it off, but I didn't expect the second heavenly thunder to be even more powerful than I expected. Qin Yu said, but the tears of Lu Xing in his body once again produced a clear stream, flowing through his injured muscles. A burst of comfortable numbness came, and some of the small injuries on his body were instantly healed. With the tears of Lu Xing, Qin Yu dared to do what he did just now. Big brother, your heavenly tribulation is even more powerful than mine. Don't be too careless. Xiao Hei reminded from the side. Qin Yu smiled. He knew that Xiao Hei was concerned about him. With the passage of time, the purple tribulation cloud rolled more and more urgently. Electric snakes constantly darted out, and a violent aura wreaked havoc in a radius of dozens of miles. The third heavenly thunder was constantly accumulating, and the purple Zhan Qi in Qin Yu's body was stirred up again. Boom! A purple dragon flew out of the tribulation cloud and rushed towards Qin Yu. The heavenly thunder's aura was really frightening, making people feel oppressed. Haha! Qin Yu bursts out laughing. His eyes shine brightly as he stares at the purple thunderbolt that is striking down. At the same time, his right fist smashes at the thunderbolt extremely fast like a meteorite with a force of 10,000 catties. Boom! The strong collided, and the air was completely distorted. Qin Yu's whole body suddenly sank into the ground. However, the second heavenly thunder was actually smashed by Qin Yu's punch. It turned into electric snakes that flickered on the surface of Qin Yu's body. The flaming gloves on Qin Yu's right hand were not damaged at all. The third heavenly thunder is just Qin Yu said with a smile. With the flaming gloves, Qin Yu's fist could easily deal with the third heavenly thunder. It must be known that Fenjiuzi had survived 4 heavenly tribulations with only a low-grade spiritual weapon. Qin Yu had the flaming gloves, so it was normal for him to smash the heavenly thunder with one punch. There is one more heavenly thunder. Once I survive it, I can practice the stellar transformations and be considered a cultivator. Qin Yu raised his head and looked at the tribulation clouds in the sky. In his mind, he was thinking about what would happen after he survived the heavenly tribulation. As soon as he thought about practicing the stellar transformations, Qin Yu's heart was slightly excited. The tribulation clouds rolled and thunder rumbled. Then, a purple lightning began to flicker in the tribulation clouds. Suddenly, several blue fire wolves popped their heads out from the edge of the forest to take a look. Xiao Hei's sharp eyes immediately swept over. Those several blue fire wolves were so scared that they immediately shrank back into the forest. Those blue fire wolves really want to be exterminated. Qin Yu casually glanced at them and then raised his head to look at the tribulation clouds. All of a sudden, a purple lightning shot out from the tribulation clouds. Boom! The wind whistled and the purple lightning zigzagged and flashed. It was as if a purple dragon was swimming down and directly struck towards Qin Yu. This was the last heavenly thunder. After surviving this heavenly thunder, Qin Yu would become a cultivator. Break for me! Qin Yu laughed out loud. The muscles of his entire body suddenly bulged. His fists carried a mountain-breaking aura. Like two huge meteorites, they fiercely smashed towards the heavenly thunder. The flaming gloves also emitted a dark red radiance. Boom! With an earth-shaking rumble, the lightning completely collapsed under the attack of the flaming gloves, a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Electric snakes flickered. A head-on collision. Qin Yu's entire body seemed to have been smashed by a hammer. Half of his body sunk into the ground. Qin Yu fiercely shook his head. That violent collision just now caused even Qin Yu to feel a burst of numbness in his fists. There was a sweet taste in his mouth and a mouthful of blood surged up to his throat. Bang! Qin Yu slapped the ground with one hand and his entire body flew out. Xiao Hei's playful voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Big brother, how was the recoil of the heavenly thunder just now? It was so. Qin Yu forcibly swallowed back that mouthful of blood. But in his heart, he cursed. I made a mistake. The impact of the fourth heavenly thunder was much stronger than the third. That recoil not only made my arms numb, but also made the blood in my body boil. Xiao Hei flapped his wings and flew to Qin Yu's side in a flash. He cried out in joy. He even used his wings to lightly pat Qin Yu's back to express his congratulations. Big brother, congratulations on also passing the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Xiao Hei was very happy for Qin Yu. Well, Xiao Hei, you can cultivate by yourself these days. I'm going to go into closed-door cultivation and concentrate on cultivating the stellar transformations. This stellar transformations has 6 stages. Nebula stage is actually the most difficult stage to cultivate at the beginning. Qin Yu said to Xiao Hei. Qin Yu had read the Stellar Transformations Secret Manual, which also included Lei Wei's description. Qin Yu naturally understood the difficulty of cultivating at the nebula stage. Xiao Hei's eagle head nodded. He said to Qin Yu through his holy sense, Big brother, don't worry about cultivating. When you succeed, I'll compete with you to see who's better. Hearing this, Qin Yu couldn't help laughing. Well, when I succeed, I'll definitely compete with you. Then, Qin Yu entered Lei Mountain House. This time, Qin Yu passed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation very easily. For ordinary people, if they had a low-grade spiritual weapon, their chances of success would be very high. If they had a middle-grade spiritual weapon, there would be almost no danger. The reason why the Hidden Dragon Continent had less than 1 in 100 people passing the tribulation successfully was that there were no middle-grade spiritual weapons. That Qin De had a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Even though he was seriously injured by Gu Min's sneak attack, he still managed to pass the tribulation in the end. From this, one could see the importance of a middle-grade spiritual weapon. In the training hall, Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged in the center of the silver floor. He was recalling the Stellar Transformations Secret Manual in his mind. He had cultivated from a child to the present. Finally, he could use the Stellar Transformations to step into the world of Zayashinists. Becoming a Zayashinist would mean that Qin Yu had entered a new level and a new world. In the future, his opponents would be Zayashinists who could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. Suddenly, Master, the original Master Lei Wei once told me that if you want to cultivate the stellar transformations, you should watch a video first. That way, you'll be more likely to succeed. A kitten appeared out of thin air and spoke to Qin Yu. Oh, video. What other video did Master leave behind? Qin Yu opened his eyes. He was secretly puzzled. Since he had accepted the Stellar Transformation's secret manual, he had already regarded Lei Wei as his master. Qin Yu nodded and said, "Starlet, let me have a look." Meow. Starlet flicked its tail and disappeared immediately. The entire training hall's walls and floor also became transparent. An image of the universe appeared. The entire training hall was like a space in the universe. The distant stars were burning, the nearby lifeless planets were floating, and there was also a dark starry sky. Suddenly, the image around the training hall suddenly changed. The starry sky of the universe disappeared. A huge nebula appeared in front of Qin Yu's eyes. This nebula was like a huge cloud floating in the universe. At the same time, it slowly rotated, absorbing the energy of the universe and condensing into particles. After countless years, these particles slowly gathered in the center of the rotation. With various changes, a planet was slowly formed. The evolution of the universe, everything was in front of Qin Yu's eyes. Qin Yu gradually became immersed in these images. At the same time, he recalled the various secret manuals of the Stellar Transformation's secret manual. He had a slight understanding in his heart. After an unknown amount of time, the image finally formed a huge star. It emitted scorching flames and had an astonishing amount of energy. Qin Yu suddenly remembers what Fenjiuzi told him about the War of Immortals, and what his master Lei Wei left behind after failing to overcome the Nine from Ninth Heaven Tribulation. Traversing the boundless universe, experiencing the evolution of the universe, drifting for thousands of years, passing through countless planets. But today, my soul is about to scatter. The heavens are not helping me. The stars are changing, the sun is not the end. What can I do? Everyone on this continent, listen up. Today, I will pass on the 3 diagrams of sky piercing. When someone obtains the 3 diagrams and comprehends their mysteries, they will receive my inheritance. Haha. Misfortune, misfortune. At this moment, Qin Yu completely understood what Lei Wei was thinking. Originally, Lei Wei had the strength to pass the 9 from Ninth Heaven Tribulation. However, before the tribulation, he was besieged by several loose immortals, Deshang stage experts, Dujie stage and Kongming stage experts. With so many people besieging him, this Lei Wei was already seriously injured. How could he resist the 9 from Ninth Heaven Tribulation? Therefore, this Lei Wei naturally felt resentful that the heavens were not helping him. The Stellar Transformation's secret manual was extremely powerful. Before Lei Wei had passed the tribulation, he was able to kill Deshang stage experts, loose immortals and Dujie stage experts. After killing so many people, he could still resist the first 8 stages of the 9 from Ninth Heaven Tribulation. His strength could be imagined. The power of the Stellar Transformation's secret manual could be imagined. However, the Stellar Transformation's secret manual was different from all other secret manuals in the cultivation world. Once practiced, Qin Yu would have to create the later stages. If he failed, he would suffer from qi deviation and his soul would scatter. Qin Yu suddenly stood up and laughed. Misfortune? Misfortune. Haha. Misfortune and fortune go hand in hand. Who cares so much? If I were to cower my whole life and only follow the prescribed order, it would be too boring to cultivate according to the previous manual. Master, you created the first 6 stages. The later stages will be created by me, Qin Yu. So what if I suffer from qi deviation and my soul scatter? Just consider it as paving the way for future disciples. At this moment, Qin Yu's heart was filled with a heroic spirit. Good, let's start cultivating now. Qin Yu calmed down and then quietly sat down cross-legged to carefully cultivate the Stellar Transformations. The first stage of the Stellar Transformations, Nebula Stage. According to the secret manual, Qin Yu began to mobilize the liquefied purple water in his body. After the 4 from Ninth Heaven Tribulation, the purple true qi completely turned into liquid. Under Qin Yu's control, the purple water droplets in every part of Qin Yu's body began to gather. First, they gathered in his dantian. Immersing his mind in it, he could feel that his dantian was infinitely vast. Qin Yu had never seen other people's dantian and did not know the difference between his dantian and other people's dantian. He did not care so much and directly controlled the liquid. His dantian was as boundless as the universe. Hoo! The liquefied true qi was like streams of water flowing in his dantian and then began to gather, forming a ball of water. If he cultivated the Jin Dan, he would be able to cultivate like this. However, Qin Yu did not cultivate the Jin Dan. First gather then disperse. Qin Yu clearly remembered the cultivation method in his mind. Just as Qin Yu was about to disperse according to the trajectory, suddenly, a very special force appeared out of thin air in his dantian. Like centrifugal force, it spun in all directions. Naturally, the ball of water was affected. The entire ball of water was affected by the strange centrifugal force and shattered into pieces, scattering in all directions. Qin Yu immediately broke out in a cold sweat and his face instantly turned pale. Not good. Qin Yu did not expect that at this juncture, his strange dantian would have such a flaw. It should be known that the most important thing to do when entering the nebula stage was to disperse. How to disperse and how to achieve perfection was very important and absolutely could not be wrong. The rotation of the nebula was the natural way of the universe. Back then, Lei Wei had also comprehended it for a long time before he came up with the method of dispersing. When I was a child, when I cultivated internal strength, this dantian also dispersed my internal strength like this. Now it's the same. Qin Yu was anxious, but he was not worried that his purple liquefied true qi would be lost. Even if it left his dantian, this purple liquefied true qi was still under Qin Yu's control and integrated into his body. However, this purple liquefied true qi was affected by the centrifugal force in his strange dantian. How could he control the trajectory of the nebula? I failed to cultivate internal strength, and now I also failed to cultivate the stellar transformation. This strange dantian is really... Qin Yu was anxious. The purple liquefied true qi had already dispersed and left Qin Yu's dantian in the form of a mist. Some even rushed out of his body. Chapter 77. With a thought, Qin Yu controls the liquid true qi to return to his body. This true qi was cultivated by Qin Yu, so it is easy for him to control it. Suddenly, a look of ecstasy appears on Qin Yu's face. Extreme ecstasy. Just now, when Qin Yu controlled the purple true qi to return to his body, the purple true qi naturally entered Qin Yu's body according to his will. At the beginning, Qin Yu controlled all the purple true qi in his body to gather in his dantian, and the purple true qi that returned to his body also rushed into his dantian. The strange centrifugal force in Qin Yu's dantian caused the purple true qi to rotate again and then disperse. A cycle. A nearly perfect cycle. A nebula-like whirlpool appeared in his dantian, and the purple true qi was constantly entering his body, rotating under the influence of the centrifugal force, and then dispersing according to the trajectory of the nebula. From the dantian, it broke through the muscles and bones to the outside of the body, and then from the outside of the body to the dantian. A perfect cycle. And because of the naturally generated centrifugal force in his dantian, a nebula in the shape of a whirlpool was formed in his dantian. Ha, even God is helping me. The strange state of my dantian is not a bad thing, but it is a great thing. Qin Yu suddenly opens his eyes, which are full of ecstasy. At this moment, he doesn't need to worry about controlling his body at all. At this moment, Qin Yu is extremely excited. Nebula, this nebula's trajectory is nearly perfect, even more perfect than the one that Master has comprehended. This is really... Qin Yu is so excited that he can't speak properly. Anyone who knows the contents of the stellar transformations knows what it means to have a nebula stage's trajectory that is closer to the Tao of nature. Qin Yu takes a deep breath to calm himself down, then sits down cross-legged and starts to concentrate on training. Although he can train automatically without controlling it, it is faster to train like this. The purple mist-like true qi emitted from his body covered a range of 2 to 3 meters around Qin Yu. The purple mist-like true chi was also constantly rotating. Qin Yu's entire body seemed to be surrounded by a mass of purple mist-like true chi. This purple mist-like true chi was absorbing the power of the stars of heaven and earth, and then pouring into his muscles and bones. When the power of the stars broke through his muscles and bones would naturally absorb a portion of it and be tempered at the same time. Then, the purple mist that carried the power of the stars would return to his dantian. When it passed through the nebula vortex in his dantian, most of its energy would be devoured, and the purple mist would disperse again. With each cycle, he absorbed the power of the stars and tempered his bones and muscles, making the energy in his nebula stronger and stronger. Repeating this cycle over and over again, Qin Yu was completely immersed in that wonderful feeling. Gradually, after an unknown amount of time, the purple clouds dispersed. Their color gradually faded, but that energy became even purer. For over a month, Qin Yu had been practicing calmly. More than a month later. At this moment, Qin Yu's body was surrounded by a faint silver mist-like true qi. It was constantly absorbing the power of the stars, and Qin Yu's body had been tempered by the power of the stars for more than a month. It was like a jade diamond. In his dantian, a perfect nebula was inside. This nebula was made up of silver particles. These silver particles were distributed in every part of his dantian. These silver particles were the essence formed by absorbing a large amount of the power of the stars. They were also the source of Qin Yu's energy in the future. In the center of the nebula, there was a mass of flame, a light blue flame. Qin Yu, who was originally sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. He stopped cultivating, and the light silver energy immediately poured into his body. The nebula was still affected by the power of his dantian, and was slowly rotating. It just made the nebula's energy more pure. A light blue flame. Sure enough, the stellar real flame obtained by practicing the stellar transformations is much more powerful than the samadhi real flame. Qin Yu suddenly stood up. Every Zyuxianist had a real flame inside his body. Zyuxianists called it the samadhi real flame, Zymoists called it the devilish real flame, and Zuyoists called it the demonic real flame. Since the stellar transformations was neither Zyuxianists nor Zuyoists, the real flame inside his body was called the stellar real flame. Qin Yu walked to the gate of the training hall. The gate immediately opened by itself. A black silhouette floated like smoke and directly appeared beside Qin Yu. It was none other than Xiao He. For more than a month, Xiao He had been alone. He had been worried about Qin Yu. Qin Yu had been in closed-door training like this for more than a month. Now that he saw Qin Yu come out, he felt relieved. Big brother. A hint of joy appeared in Xiao He's eyes. Qin Yu said with a smile, "Xiao He, come with me." "Where are we going?" Xiao He became doubtful. Qin Yu, however, did not say anything and directly walked in another direction. Xiao He also followed Qin Yu. Qin Yu went straight to the weapon forging room on the first floor of Lei Mountain House. The door of the weapon forging room opened by itself. "Big brother, are you going to forge weapons?" Xiao He now realized what was going on. Qin Yu said with a smile, "That's right. When I got the Inrock flaming iron, Uncle Feng's Samadhi real flame was not powerful enough, so he only forged it into a middle-grade holy weapon. In fact, the Inrock flaming iron can be forged into a high-grade holy weapon. Moreover, I have some high-grade crystals here which can be fused together to forge my flaming gloves and flaming sword again." "High-grade crystals? Big brother, do you have high-grade crystals?" Xiao He's surprised voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. Qin Yu nodded slightly and then said with a smile, "What's the matter? Do you want them too?" Xiao He's eagle head nodded again and said with spiritual sense, "In my memory, there is also a method to use the demonic soul true fire to refine weapons. Unfortunately, I don't have any good crystal stones, and the top-grade crystal stones in the storage room can be seen but not touched. I didn't know that Big Brother had high-grade crystal stones here." "Okay, how many do you want?" Qin Yu's heart moved. Qin Yu was completely aware of the crystals in the dream ring. Most of the crystals in this space ring were middle-grade crystals and some high-grade crystals. Although there were not many, there were still more than a dozen of them. Each of them was relatively large, almost half the size of the in-rock flaming iron. One is enough. Big brother, can you choose for me? I want one with the electric attribute. Xiao He said. Qin Yu makes a wave of his hand. In an instant, more than 10 high-grade crystals appear in the crafting room. Xiao He takes a fancy to a blue crystal at once and happily absorbs it from midair. He unexpectedly swallows it in one gulp. End of B1C3. Big brother, you can refine here. I will also find a place to refine. Xiao He said with a smile. Qin Yu nodded, and then he also chose 2 high-grade crystals, a golden crystal and a black high-grade crystal. Once the flaming gloves and flaming sword were refined by the Star True Fire, many impurities would be refined and their size would be too small. Moreover, the fire attribute in-rock flaming iron was not very good. After fusing the 2 crystals with the metal attribute and the dark attribute, the hardness of the flaming gloves and flaming sword would greatly increase. Moreover, their light would also dim and they would even have the ability to swallow. The refining room. Master has already arranged so many formations. Thus, it will be much easier for me to refine. Qin Yu smiled and pointed with one hand. The flaming sword and flaming gloves immediately flew out from his body and directly flew above the refining 8 trigrams furnace. At the same time, a light blue flame flew out from Qin Yu's body and floated into the 8 trigrams furnace. Immediately, the flame was blazing. Heaven's Gate. 8 trigrams. Positive. Qin Yu sends out several illusory light silvery streams of stellar energy with a single hand, shooting them into the several small holes in the 8 diagrams furnace. The 8 diagrams furnace immediately brightens. Various beams of light shoot out, forming mysterious talismans. The light blue flame's temperature rises abruptly. Qin Yu smiled. The Star True Fire had 2 sides. Through the control of the formation, the Star True Fire could be turned into the Sun True Fire and the Moon True Fire. At this moment, the Star True Fire was in the state of the Sun True Fire. The flaming sword and flaming gloves were completely melted in a short while. At the same time, the impurities were incinerated. Naturally, their volume was much smaller. Qin Yu pointed with one hand and 2 upper-grade crystals flew into the furnace. The Sun True Fire once again melted the 2 upper-grade crystals and burned away the impurities. The volume of the 2 crystals shrunk by 4 or 5 times. Qin Yu remembered the simplest refining method in the stellar transformations. The Sun True Fire would melt the impurities and the Moon True Fire would shape the shape. However, it was precisely this simplest method that caused Qin Yu to be flustered. The most important thing was that controlling the fire was the most difficult. Earth's Gate. 8 trigrams, reverse. As the light silver star power shot into the other holes, the 8 trigrams furnace emitted a different light. The temperature of the Star True Fire suddenly dropped. The outer flame was also a light blue color. After a long time of refining, the flaming gloves and the flaming sword finally took shape again. Qin Yu simply engraved 2 formations on the flaming gloves and the flaming sword. One was an offensive formation and the other was a defensive formation. Qin Yu saw these 2 formations in a secret manual in the study. My research on formations is too weak. According to that secret manual, a powerful expert can engrave 9 offensive formations on a flying sword at once and form a cycle. It is very powerful. Qin Yu thought to himself. If Fenjiuzi knew what Qin Yu was thinking, Fenjiuzi would be ashamed to death. The secret manual that Qin Yu read was a top-notch secret manual that Lei Wei obtained in the cultivation world. The 2 formations that Qin Yu engraved were extremely abstruse and were generally not passed on to outsiders. Back then, when Fenjiuzi was crafting artifacts for Qin Yu, he had merely set up a very crude attack formation array. The flaming gloves and the flaming sword float in front of Qin Yu. At the moment, the flaming gloves and the flaming sword are both dark golden in color and have become high-grade holy weapons. The flaming sword is about the same size as a common flying sword, so it can be used as a short sword or a flying sword to attack. It is indeed very ingenious. July has passed. Tomorrow is the day that the Qin clan has decided to mobilize the army. At the moment, in a military camp near the Blackwater Mountain Range, the four generals, Qin De and Qin Zheng, are all gathered together. Qin De and Qin Zheng are wearing brocade clothes while Qin Feng, Jiang Tao, Fu Bing and Fan Yu are wearing battle robes. Everybody, the Qin clan has been preparing for several hundred years. We are only waiting for tomorrow to break out. The first battle will be fought by all of you. Lei Shui County of the four Western Region counties must be captured in one battle. Qin De stares at the four generals in front of him and says firmly, General Fan Yu is the only woman among the four generals. She also has another identity, the chief bandit of the Blackwater Mountain Range. Don't worry, Your Highness. The Blackwater Mountain Range has been accumulating power for several hundred years just for this day. As long as the order is given, 300,000 troops will be able to capture Lei Shui County directly. General Fan Yu says resolutely. The Blackwater Mountain Range has been rumored for several hundred years just for this day. It is declared that there are 200,000 bandits, but in fact there are 300,000 of them. General Fan Yu, don't be impatient. This battle must be won in one battle. That's why I asked the other three generals to go with us. The 300,000 regular troops of the Qin clan plus the 300,000 troops of the Blackwater Army will be 600,000 in total. We must win in one battle like a flood bursting through a dike. Qin De's eyes glitter. Qin Feng says, Don't worry, father. Lei Shui County's garrison is no more than 200,000 troops and they are all in different cities, so it's really very easy to break through. What we need to do is to guard against the Mu clan of the three southern region counties. Lei Shui County is close to the Mu clan. General Qin Feng, we have 600,000 troops. The three southern region counties only have 600,000 troops in total. Moreover, they also need to garrison the three counties so they can't threaten us. General Jiang Tao says smilingly. On one side, Qin Zhang says smilingly, Generals, Father has arranged it this way because he wants to intimidate the three southern region counties and the four western region counties. With 600,000 troops, it will be much more difficult for the two powers to capture Lei Shui County. All right, I'll leave the first battle to you. Qin De says with a loud laugh. The four generals are also very confident. Afterwards, the higher-ups of the army begin to talk casually and easily with each other. Oh, General Qin Feng seems to have reached the late Xiantian stage. This year, General Qin Feng seems to be less than 28 years old, right? General Jiang Tao says in amazement with brightening eyes. Qin Feng nods smilingly. General Qin Feng is really formidable. You've reached the late Xiantian stage before the age of 28. Perhaps you're the leader of the younger generation on the Qianlong continent. Fu Bing also says smilingly. On one side, Fan Yu also stares at Qin Feng with brightening eyes. The leader of the younger generation? Qin Feng shakes his head and gives a forced smile. Qin De and Qin Zheng also sigh. Qin Zhang says to the generals, When my third brother was 18 years old, he reached the Xiantian stage through external practice. Moreover, he reached the peak of the Xiantian stage. Even the conqueror of Western Chu and the others in history are far inferior to him. At the moment, however, Qin Zheng feels sullen. His third brother was a genius, but he died at such a young age. Even his reputation did not spread far and wide. External practice? The peak of the Xiantian stage? 18 years old? The generals are all dumbstruck. Since ancient times, no one on the Qianlong continent has been able to reach the Xiantian stage through external practice. Now that they hear that an 18-year-old youngster has reached that stage, naturally they find it hard to believe. Where's third prince? Fan Yu asks curiously. In order to save me, you killed 5 peak Xiantian experts in succession, then perished together with that Shangxian of the Xiang clan, Wu Xing. As soon as Qin De says so, the generals all gasp. They look at each other but are unable to say anything. In the wilderness, Xiao He, get ready. We're going back right away. Standing outside Lei Mountain House, Qin Yu shouts at Xiao He. Then he mumbles to himself in a low voice, "It's been 7 months. I wonder how Father and the others are doing. Perhaps they still don't know that I'm still alive." At the thought of this, Chinyu becomes even more anxious to return home. Chinyu has reached the nebula stage by practicing the stellar transformations and forged 2 high-grade holy weapons. Now he has the power to travel through the wilderness, so of course he is anxious to go back. Chapter 78. Big Brother, are we finally going back? Xiao Hei flies out of Lei Mountain House in a flash. His eagle-like eyes emit aura. Xiao Hei can be considered to have achieved some success in cultivation. Moreover, he was born to an extraordinary family, so his intelligence is comparable to a human's. Chinyu looks around then, says with a nod, "We've spent 7 months in the untainted land. You and I both passed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Moreover, according to the map left by Master, the area we're in is still far from the core of the untainted land. It's only 100,000 li away from the border. Only 100,000 li. Only after reaching the nebula stage will Chinyu dare to say so. If it was before passing the tribulation, it would take Chinyu at least several years to cross this distance of 100,000 li. After all, there are all kinds of demonic beasts along the way." Xiao Hei suddenly says a little unwillingly, "Although I haven't been back for a long time, the mortal world of the Qianlong continent is very boring. Even Xiantian demonic beasts are rarely seen." Chinyu naturally understands what Xiao Hei is thinking. As an expert, it is very uncomfortable to be in a group of weaklings without any opponents. This is also the reason why Chinyu yearns for the Xiuzhen world and wants to enter a world where Zayashinists are everywhere. In this 100,000 li, you and I can also practice by fighting some demonic beasts on the way. Chinyu gives a smile. "This time, I'm afraid we won't be able to stay for long. Xiao Hei, now you and I can be considered to be Zayashinists. When we meet up with Father and settle the mortal world, we'll leave the Qianlong continent. At that time, we'll be able to roam freely." Chinyu's eyes are faintly misty. Last time, because Father Chinyu did not allow him to protect Father Chinda during his tribulation, Chinyu vented his feelings that he had suppressed for more than 10 years in front of his relatives. During the half year that he left, Chinyu has been thinking about it. Later, he finally understands that people should live for themselves. If he lived for others, not only would he be tired, but he would also put a lot of pressure on others. After the knot in his heart was untied, Chinyu happened to receive the mission of protecting Mr. Ying. That was the reason why Chinyu killed 5 Xiantian perfected experts in a row and perished together with Wu Xing. Chinyu had already made up his mind. After returning to meet with his father, he would embark on his own journey. After all, that was the path that belonged to him. The Qianlong continent was a mortal world. This river was really too small to accommodate Chinyu, a fish that had already leaped through the Dragon Gate. "Really?" Xiao Hei's eyes lit up. "Big brother, are you willing to leave your father?" Xiao Hei only had feelings for Chinyu. As for Qinde and the others, he only cared about them a little because of their relationship with Chinyu. In fact, he didn't have much feelings for them. As for the other humans, even if they were all dead, Xiao Hei probably wouldn't care. Eagles were originally proud and aloof. Imperial father? In fact, as long as we have feelings for each other, why do we have to live together? What's more, even my father would agree with me. After all, to go up to the sky and down to the ground, to soar through the 9th heaven and to embark on an ethereal journey, this is what we Zayashinists should do. All right, big brother, I'll go wherever you go. I don't care where you go, I'll follow you no matter where you go. I believe that life won't be too boring in the future. Little Black's eyes flashed with a bright light. Chinyu patted Xiao Hei's eagle back with a big smile on his face. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's set out now. Chinyu turned around to look at Lei Mountain House. With a thought, the entire Lei Mountain House began to float and shrink. Then, like a very small villa model, it floated to Chinyu's hand. With a thought, Chinyu took Lei Mountain House into his reverie ring. Master's refining method is really amazing. He can even refine such a big house. Qin Yu praised. Refining an immortal mansion was a heaven-defying method even in the whole Zionist world. The star force originally contained the property of fire. The star fire obtained from practicing the stellar transformation was naturally very powerful. When Starlet said that Lei Wei's refining ability was the best in the Zionist world, it was not without reason. Xiao He was very surprised. He knew Lei Mountain House was amazing, but he didn't expect it to shrink like a spiritual weapon. Okay, Xiao He, let's go. Qin Yu's figure was like a cloud of smoke, directly soaring into the sky. How dare you run away? Xiao He screamed and then flapped his wings, also soaring into the sky. In a short while, he caught up with Qin Yu. The man and the eagle flew side by side, directly flying to the west. Qin Yu's body was surrounded by streaks of light silver star force, but he didn't feel the slightest bit of resistance and flew at an extremely fast speed. Wow, big brother, this stellar transformation is really amazing. I know a lot about Zionists in my memory, but generally, Zionists of the Jin Dan stage fly very slowly. Xiao He and Qin Yu flew side by side and transmitted their voices. Qin Yu said with a smile, Xiao He, the prerequisite for practicing this stellar transformation is that the body has reached the peak of the Xiantian stage. Do you know why? I don't know. Xiao He blinked twice and replied with his voice. Qin Yu's eyes flashed and he said with a smile, the first stage of the stellar transformation is the nebula stage. When practicing, a nebula is formed in the dantian. At the same time, the power goes through the bones and muscles to the outside of the body, forming a huge nebula outside of the body, which constantly absorbs the star force. The star force then goes through the muscles and bones to return to the nebula in the dantian, forming a perfect cycle. The most important part of this cycle is the body. This is because the star force, whether it goes from the dantian to the outside of the body or absorbs the star force back to the nebula in the dantian, has to go through the muscles and bones. If the muscles and bones are not strong enough, they would have been blown up by the extremely powerful star force. Therefore, an extremely powerful body is required. Actually, the process of constantly cultivating and absorbing the power of the stars is also a process of cultivating the body. Every time the power of the stars passes through the muscles and bones are tempered, and at the same time, a portion of the power of the stars is absorbed. After hearing Qin Yu's words, Xiao He was slightly stunned for a while. After a long time, he transmitted his voice. Ah, isn't this refining? Refining the body like a spirit weapon. Almost. It's just that the body is too important. It can't be directly tempered by the true fire like refining. It can only be slowly tempered by the star force. After a long period of cultivation, the body will become stronger and stronger. In the end, it is possible to surpass a spirit weapon. Qin Yu felt the strong wind blowing against his face, but his heart was very comfortable. At this moment, Qin Yu was shuttling through the clouds. Looking down, he saw that the mountains, plains, and swamps were constantly being passed. Generally, when a cultivator's body was flying, they would encounter a huge resistance. However, Qin Yu's body was comparable to a spirit weapon. It was as easy as a spirit weapon flying. As for Xiao He, he was a bird, so his flying ability was even more powerful. Just as the man and the eagle were enjoying the process of flying, suddenly, a huge pressure came from the front. At the same time, a hot wave of heat came from the distance. Suddenly, the temperature around Qin Yu rose to hundreds of degrees. Not good. Qin Yu's complexion changed. He knew that they must have encountered a demon beast. Xiao He also stopped and carefully looked ahead. In just a moment, a huge golden eagle appears before Qin Yu's eyes. Not only does that eagle have golden feathers like a crown on its head, even the feathers all over its body are golden. The entire surface of the eagle's body is blazing with flames. This eagle's body was even bigger than Blackie's by a whole size. Qin Yu immediately recognizes the golden flame eagle because he has read quite a few Shojin books in Lei Mountain House. Little cultivators? And a bastard eagle? How dare you enter my territory? The golden flame eagle looked at Qin Yu and Xiao Hei with disdain. It was like an emperor looking at a beggar, as if he had control over their life and death. However, this was the reality. Yuanying stage. Qin Yu felt the aura of the eagle and immediately judged that this golden flame eagle was definitely not at the Jindan stage. Otherwise, he would have been able to resist at all. Big brother, run. Xiao Hei, run. Xiao Hei and Qin Yu talked to each other through their spiritual senses at almost the same time. They both judged that the golden flame eagle in front of them was simply undefeatable. After all, the golden flame eagle was a king among eagles. It was extremely talented and had reached the Yuanying stage. The two of them were simply undefeatable. Then, the man and the eagle tacitly flew towards the north. After all, the west was blocked by the golden flame eagle. Xiao Hei's wings flapped gently 9 times in a row. Suddenly, he turned into a bolt of lightning and flashed far away. Xiao Hei was not worried about Qin Yu at all. After all, they had competed in speed before. Xiao Hei had the soaring eagle movement technique from his inherited memories, passing lightning flashes. Qin Yu also had his own body weapon unity from the stellar transformation. The dark gold flaming sword, an upper-grade spiritual weapon, suddenly flew to Qin Yu's feet. At the same time, the light silver illusory power of the stars emerged from Qin Yu's body and completely shuttled between Qin Yu's body and the flaming sword. Qin Yu and the flaming sword seemed to be one. Qin Yu's speed suddenly increased by nearly 10 times. In an instant, he disappeared without a trace. The golden flame eagle stared blankly at the two little things in front of it. In an instant, it had been left behind. An early Jindan stage mongrel actually has such speed. He must have a top-secret movement technique. Thinking of this, the golden flame eagle's eyes lit up. Even its mother, another golden flame eagle, had passed on a simple cultivation method to it. Although he was only an early Jindan stage mongrel, he could already reach such speed. Generally, the demon beasts in the untainted land all had the simplest and most basic cultivation methods, which were passed down from generation to generation. No demon beast could be as lucky as Xiao Hei, who had inherited memories, decided cultivation methods, and even refined weapons. Whoosh! The strength of the Yuanying stage was completely unleashed. The golden flame eagle's speed suddenly increased several times. It turned into a golden light and chased after the man and the eagle in front of it. Big brother, we are still faster. We got rid of that stupid eagle in an instant. Xiao Hei transmitted his voice. At this moment, Xiao Hei was much more relaxed. Qin Yu also smiled. After living in the untainted land for a period of time, he also knew that ordinary demon beasts only knew some of the most basic cultivation methods. They did not know how to refine weapons or elixirs like cultivators did. As for Xiao Hei, he was a freak. Even Qin Yu was shocked by his many amazing cultivation methods. Mongrel eagle, hand over the secret of your body movement and I will spare your life. Along with a wave of heat, 2 voices sounded in Qin Yu and Xiao Hei's minds at the same time. Xiao Hei and Qin Yu, who had just relaxed, immediately shouted and increased their speed again. A black light and a pale silver light were flying side by side. Behind them was a huge golden light. I am a golden flame eagle, the king of the eagles that are best at flying. However, after reaching the Yuanying stage, I can't even catch up with the early Jindan stage mongrel eagle. Body movement, it must be an extraordinary body movement. The more it could not catch up, the more the golden flame eagle desired the body movement. Although the golden flame eagle could not catch up, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei could not get rid of it in a short time. Xiao Hei, don't risk your life for now. Qin Yu transmitted his voice. He knew that Xiao Hei had a trump card that could increase his speed by dozens of times in an instant. However, that was a desperate move. Qin Yu also had such a move. Although they could not get rid of the golden flame eagle, the golden flame eagle could not catch up. After flying for a while, Qin Yu's eyes suddenly lit up. He saw a huge lake below. The lake was at least a few hundred miles wide. Xiao Hei, get into the water. Qin Yu transmitted his voice through his spiritual sense. Then, he turned into a ray of light and rushed into the lake. Xiao Hei also flapped his wings and rushed into the lake. The golden flame eagle let out a sharp cry and also rushed into the lake. Birds were not allowed to enter the water. However, both Xiao Hei and the golden flame eagle were not ordinary birds. They were demonic beasts that had passed the 4 in 9 heavenly tribulation. Entering the water would only affect their speed. However, for a fire-attributed golden flame eagle, entering the water would have a greater impact. Yellow flame eagle, bye-bye. Ha-ha. Qin Yu suddenly laughed. Qin Yu's speed was not affected much in the water. He was like a human-shaped flying sword and left the golden flame eagle far behind. Xiao Hei's wings suddenly flashed with electricity. The electricity flowed within a few meters of Xiao Hei's body. Water could conduct electricity. Xiao Hei moved quickly in the water. The water had little effect on him. Xiao Hei also disappeared in an instant. As for the golden flame eagle, it could only watch helplessly as the 2 little prey left it in the dust and disappeared from its sight. Although it had a spiritual sense, it could only sense a few dozen kilometers. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei had escaped its spiritual sense range. From high up in the sky, it could be seen that 2 rays of light shot out of the lake. Then, in a flash, they rushed into a huge forest. The forest was so huge that one could not see the end of it. After a long time, the golden flame eagle could not find Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. It screeched angrily and finally flew back to its nest unwillingly. In the ancient forest, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei still had lingering fears. If they really fought, they would not be a match for the gifted Yuanying stage golden flame eagle. Xiao Hei, let's not fly anymore. Let's go through the ground. At the same time, we should cultivate and fight more Jin Dan demonic beasts. Qin Yu said with a smile. Xiao Hei also flapped its wings to express its agreement. Then, the man and the eagle gave up on flying. After all, not only did they have to hurry on with their journey, but cultivation was also more important. Of course, it was a bit too much to cultivate against someone who was at the Yuanying stage. Chapter 79. When Qin Yu and Xiao Hei are shuttling back and forth in the boundless untainted land and fighting various demonic immortals, the Chu kingdom on the Qianlong continent has been repressed for the past half-year and is about to explode tonight. The town of Xiang is a small town adjacent to the Blackwater mountain range. This is the headquarters of the Qin clan's war. East vanquishing Prince Qin De and military counselor Su Yuan are overseeing this place. At the moment, Qin De and Su Yuan are playing Go. It's already dark. Judging from the time, General Qin Feng's army is about to launch the first wave of attack. Su Yuan, who is dressed in a black brocade robe, looks at the sky and says smilingly to Qin De. The fan in his hand is still gently and slowly waving. Qin De gently picks up a white Go piece and puts it down. He says indifferently, "If we can't even win the first game, Feng won't need to be a general." A faint smile appears on Su Yuan's face. Even though Qin De looks very calm, Su Yuan is still certain that at the moment Qin De is absolutely not calm because he made a wrong move in the Go game just now. Given Qin De's Go skills, under normal circumstances he would not have made such a mistake. Calm? How can Qin De be calm? His wife is dead. His son is dead. Everything the Qin clan has been preparing for several hundred years will explode tonight. At the moment, even though Qin De is a golden immortal of the great all-embracing heaven, he still cannot calm down. It is gradually getting dark. At the moment, Yanglin City, a small town in the easternmost part of Lei Shui County, is still heavily guarded. After all, the Xiang clan also knows that the Qin clan is going to attack. Even though Yanglin City is a hindrance, it is only a small town. However, according to the Xiang clan's intelligence, the Qin clan does not have enough power to break through Lei Shui County. Therefore, there are only several thousand soldiers garrisoned in Yanglin City. The city gate is already closed. If you want to go out, wait until tomorrow. Seeing some people approaching, several tens guards of the city gate immediately shout loudly, "Sir, My father is seriously ill, so I have to go out. Can you make an exception? Two young men who look like scholars go up to the guards of the city gate. At the same time, they take out a purse and open it. Unexpectedly, there are quite a few large gold ingots inside. In the dark night, the light of the several large gold ingots stupefies these guards for a while. Suddenly, outside Yanglan City, a number of robust figures holding shields were rushing out from a small forest outside Yanglan City. The guards on the city wall didn't expect that there would be people hiding in the forest. After all, the forest wasn't very big. Each and every one of the soldiers was extremely fast. Each and every one of them was an internal expert. Seeing the speed of the Qin family's soldiers, the faces of the soldiers on the city gate immediately turned pale. They immediately saw the difference between them and the Qin family's soldiers. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Shouts immediately rang out from the city walls. Get lost! The head of the guards grabbed the gold ingot and pushed the scholar away. It was obvious that he wanted to snatch the gold ingot. The bodies of the two scholars moved like phantoms. Following a few muffled gurgling sounds, the dozens of guards fell down with their eyes wide open and clutching their throats. Blood splattered on the ground. The two scholars put away their daggers and smiled at each other. The Qin clan's first battle had to be won quickly and thoroughly. It should be known that this time General Qin Feng was personally leading 100,000 troops. As for the first battle, it was the absolute elites of Qin Feng's 100,000 troops, their trump card, the Firm Destroyer Army. The Firm Destroyer Army only had 3,000 people, but they were the best of the best. All of them were very skilled and had practiced relatively powerful internal energy. The two scholars were Xiantian experts of the Qin family's secret arrow. The two Xiantian experts killed dozens of small soldiers in an instant. Shoot the arrows! Shoot the arrows quickly! Those panic-stricken military officers on the city wall immediately shouted. However, the experts of the Firm Destroyer Army used their shields to block the arrows. Some of them even ran to the city gate and went in just like that. Rumble, the city gate opened. Why is the city gate open? Quickly close it. Close it. The military officers on the city wall immediately shouted loudly. The experts of the 3,000 rushed into the city like arrows leaving the bowstring. After opening the city gate, the two experts of the secret arrow tore off their scholar clothes at the same time. Inside, they were wearing night-moving clothes. As the city gate opened, the 3,000 Firm Destroyer Army swept through the entire small city easily. Whiz! A whistling arrow shot up to the sky. Ha! Yanglan City has been breached. Launch the second wave of attack right away. We're going to break the 4 eastern cities of Lei Shui County in succession. As soon as Qin Feng saw the signal of the whistling arrow, he gave an order at once. He did not doubt this first battle at all. A small Yanglan city was attacked by the most elite 3,000 Firm Destroyer Army and 2 Xiantian experts. If they still could not break it, those experts should commit suicide as an apology. Following Qin Feng's order, several whistling arrows shot up to the sky at once. Immediately, the 4 eastern cities of Lei Shui County were attacked forcefully by several tens of thousands of troops without any preparation. In just the middle of the night, the 4 cities were breached. At the same time, Jiang Tao and Fu Bing each led 100,000 troops through these 4 cities and began to sweep through Lei Shui County. Under the leadership of General Fan Yu, the 300,000 Blackwater Army, formerly known as the Blackwater Bandits, directly captured the southern cities of Lei Shui County. The 300,000 troops were divided into several groups, ranging from 100,000 to 20,000. Pooh! A Qin soldier raises his saber and directly cuts off the head of a local soldier. Ha! These fledglings have never seen blood, but they still want to fight with us. I've even killed more than 10 wolves. The Qin soldier laughed out loud, but his hands were mercilessly slaughtering the enemies who resisted. We surrender! We surrender! The Xiong clan soldiers shout loudly one after another. At the beginning of the war, the Qin clan shouted loudly that those who surrender will be spared. Indeed, the Qin clan also abided by this rule. Because of their peaceful life, none of the Xiong clan soldiers have killed anyone. However, most of the Qin clan's troops have been fighting with some ferocious beasts on the border of the wilderness, so their fighting capacity is naturally different. In just half a month, 600,000 troops have swept through the entire Lei Shui County like flowing water. This is the first time that the Qin clan soldiers have shown their true power. The fighting capacity of the soldiers who have experienced fighting in the wilderness is far greater than that of the Xiong clan's ordinary soldiers who have never fought. This time the Qin clan is definitely not lenient. It attacks the entire Lei Shui County in an absolutely unyielding manner. In half a month, Lei Shui County has been completely conquered. However, at the moment, the Xiong clan has devoted all its troops to the other 3 counties. If the Qin clan wants to break through by force, it will also lose a large number of soldiers. After all, it is extremely difficult to break through a siege. The Black Water Army is stationed in some southern cities of Lei Shui County to intimidate the Mu clan in the 3 southern region counties. Pa! The teacup is suddenly thrown to the ground and breaks into pieces. Pang! The desk in the imperial study, which is used especially for the emperor's work, is overturned. Everything on the desk falls to the ground. At the moment, Xiong Guang is like an enraged lion. His blood-red eyes are wide open as if he wants to devour someone. A whole county is finished just like that. It's all messed up. The plan is all messed up. Xiong Guang gasps for breath. His blood-red eyes stare at the several people in front of him. My intelligence officer, how much do I value you, huh? How much do you value me? 600,000 troops. Did you hear that? The Qin clan has mobilized 600,000 troops to attack my Lei Shui County. Where did they come from? Tell me, where did these 600,000 troops come from? Xiong Guang gasps for breath non-stop. A county was an extremely vast piece of land with over 100 cities. Moreover, this county is one of the 4 counties that his Xiong clan has painstakingly managed. However, it has been completely conquered in just half a month. At that time your plan was very good. You also said that everything had been ascertained. The Black Water Bandits could make Jiang Tao's and Fu Bing's 200,000 troops not dare to move. Only Qin Feng had 100,000 troops. It was simply a dream for them to conquer my Lei Shui County. But what about now? Xiong Guang stares at the hook-nosed man. The hook-nosed man kneels down in terror and says, I don't know either. Those Black Water Bandits unexpectedly didn't keep their promise. They unexpectedly completely pledged allegiance to the Qin clan. Those 300,000 Black Water troops were the original Black Water Bandits. The hook-nosed man is also very frightened. Ha ha! Surrender? Pledge allegiance? Xiong Guang raises his head and laughs out loud. The Black Water Bandits with hundreds of years of history. Moreover, during these several hundred years, the Qin clan has annihilated them several tens of times. Several tens of thousands of people have even been killed or injured. Could it be all of this is fake? Is it all fake? How could they possibly pledge allegiance to the Qin clan? How could this be? Xiong Guang roars furiously. The leader of the dominant Dragon Corps, Yi Yan, says, Your Majesty, now it seems that the Qin clan has been disloyal for a long time and has been planning this for several hundred years. Those Black Water Bandits were also pawns set up by the Qin clan several hundred years ago. They have always been used to confuse us. Only this can explain why the Black Water Bandits immediately pledged allegiance to the Qin clan without saying anything in the past several hundred years when the two sides have been fighting each other so many times. Xiong Guang is most unwilling to believe this, but now it seems that what Yi Yan said is true. Xiong Guang's whole body shudders. Several hundred years, my God, the Qin clan has unexpectedly been preparing for several hundred years. Then how many more hidden pawns does it actually have? It has been preparing for several hundred years. Once it breaks out, how terrifying will it be? At the moment Xiong Guang is completely frightened by what he is thinking. The several people present are the ones Xiong Guang trusts the most, but now none of them dares to say anything. Xiong Guang lowers his head. No one knows what he is thinking. But none of Yi Yen and the others dares to interrupt. Ha ha ha. Xiong Guang laughs in a low voice, then raises his head and stares at everybody, saying, "Good, it's just one county. The Qin clan has 300,000 more black water troops, right? Good, I'll definitely let Qin De know who the real master of the Chu kingdom is." Xiong Guang is wrong. The black water bandits have become the Qin clans. Has the Qin clan really only gained 300,000 more troops? No, it has not. It has 500,000 more troops. This is because the 200,000 troops originally needed to intimidate the black water bandits can now also be thrown into the war. The Qin clan originally had 600,000 troops, plus the 200,000 it has secretly recruited. Together with the 300,000 black water troops, it has a total of 1 million troops. Moreover, the fighting capacity of the Qin clan's troops is generally higher than that of the other 3 clans. Your Majesty, Great Ancestor invites you to go see him. A clear and quiet voice rises in Xiong Guang's ears. His whole body immediately shakes. He immediately rebukes the several people present angrily. "All of you go back. Do your job well for me. If you make another mistake, don't blame me for being ruthless." Yes. The several people present bow and retreat at once. Only after they have left does Xiong Guang tidy up his clothes, then leave the imperial study directly to go see that great ancestor. There are some places in the imperial palace where outsiders are not allowed to approach. Weiyang Palace is one of them. At the moment, Xiong Guang has entered Weiyang Palace. In Weiyang Palace, both Xiong Guang and Mr. Lan are standing outside the bedroom. Even though there is only a bead curtain blocking the bedroom door, nobody dares to break through. Standing outside the bead curtain, Xiong Guang bows and says, "Guang greets great ancestor." "Guang, tell me the situation of the war." An amiable voice rises from inside the room. Through the bead curtain, a person is vaguely seen sitting with legs crossed on a bed. That bed is faintly emitting light. Xiong Guang arranges his thoughts and says, "Great ancestor, those Blackwater bandits unexpectedly changed their name to Blackwater Army and became an army of the Qin clan. They mobilized 600,000 troops all of a sudden and occupied our Xiong clan's Lei Shui County in half a month. Because of this, the Qin clan now has 1 million troops. Moreover, according to Guang Er's guess, the Qin clan has been preparing for today's rebellion for several hundred years." "Several hundred years? You can be considered smart to have guessed this." The voice inside slightly praises him. Xiong Guang does not blush at all. He continues, "Even so, I'm still confident that I can destroy the Qin clan. As far as I know, the Qin clan has already sent 300,000 troops to secretly enter the 2 northern region counties. When the Qin clan also starts to attack us, I'll directly have Shangguan Hong switch sides and attack the Xiong clan from both inside and outside." "Oh." Xiong Guang's heart jolts. He thinks of a possibility and says hurriedly, "Great ancestor, is that Shangguan Hong reliable? The Qin clan has been preparing for several hundred years. Someone like Shangguan Hong might really join the Qin clan. If that happens, we'll be in trouble." He suddenly thinks of this. "Don't worry. Even if Shangguan Hong dies, he won't join the Qin clan." The voice inside seems to be very confident. As soon as Xiong Guang hears this, he immediately feels much more relaxed. He has a blind worship for the great ancestor in his heart. Suddenly the great ancestor's voice inside becomes stern. "Guang, has your intelligence department found out anything about Qin Yu, the already dead third prince of the Qin clan, especially how this Qin Yu practiced?" "Qin Yu? That useless third prince?" Xiong Guang is dumbfounded. In fact, Xiong Guang still does not know about the process of Qin De's great battle to pass the tribulation. After all, apart from Wu De, all of his troops have died and Wu De disdains to tell him the truth. Useless? The 4 directions killing gods and Gumin 5 peak Xiantian experts. A 19-year-old brat killed 5 peak Xiantian experts and Shongxian Wu Xing. That brat even killed Shongxian Wu Xing before he died. You still dare to say he's useless? The great ancestor is slightly angry. Xiong Guang is dumbfounded. He has paid relatively close attention to the Qin clan's eldest son and second son. As for the third son, he simply has never cared about him. But now even the mysterious great ancestor has unexpectedly paid attention to this Qin Yu. You quickly go and investigate. What kind of technique can make a 19-year-old child reach such power? I definitely don't believe that a person's talent can be so high. He definitely has a top-notch technique. If the Qin clan has such a technique and can train a group of top-notch experts, that will be a disaster. The great ancestor's voice becomes serious. Obviously, he has already become angry. Xiong Guang has never seen the great ancestor speak so angrily. He immediately says hurriedly, "Yes, I'll investigate right away." After saying so, he hurriedly leaves Weiyang Palace. Chapter 80. The sun is setting in the west. On an official road leading to the two northern region counties on a plain, a snaking dragon-like army is advancing unceasingly. It is so long that no end can be seen at a glance. There are 4 sergeants in this army walking side by side. They are hurrying on their way with large strides. All of these sergeants are very spirited and each of them has a faint killing intent on his body. This is the Qin clan's regular army, a real army that has fought wild beasts in the wilderness for several years. It is not frightening for a single person to have such an imposing manner. What is frightening is for a whole army of 100,000 to have such an imposing manner. In particular, there are 2 special troops near General Zhao Yunqing. One is a troop of 1,000 people trained by Zhao Yunqing according to the extreme training method and his internal energy. The other troop is Zhao Yunqing's personal guards, numbering only 300 people. These 2 trump card troops under Zhao Yunqing are terrifyingly powerful. There is a red-furred lion between the 2 troops. This red-furred lion looks like it is burning with flames all over its body. Zhao Yunqing is riding on this red-furred lion, controlling the overall situation in the middle of the army. "General, we'll reach Lanshan City in an hour. North Vanquishing Prince has already prepared the barracks for us. As soon as we arrive, we can directly check in and rest in Lanshan City." A scholar riding a Juju-bred horse says to Zhao Yunqing. Zhao Yunqing nods with a smile. "Shualan, this time we're the last to enter the 2 northern region counties. Looks like His Highness has his own plan." The scholar says with a nod, "This time, of the 3 legions passing through the 2 northern region counties, your army is undoubtedly the one with the strongest offensive power. But His Highness let General Sima and Ouyang's troops enter the 2 northern region counties first. General Sima and Ouyang's offense is not bad, but they are famous for their defense. His Highness must have a deep meaning for making such an arrangement." Zhao Yunqing nods. "His Highness has his own reasons for making such an arrangement. There are many things we can't see now, but a few months later, we'll know the deeper meaning of His Highness's arrangement. His Highness must have been waiting for this day for a long time." The Blackwater mountain range suddenly changed sides and the 300,000 Blackwater army became an army of our Qin family. Once this news spread out, who doesn't admire your Highness? The scholar obviously admires Qin De very much. Afterwards, Zhao Yunqing's army entered the 2 northern region counties. Since then, the first step of Qin De and Shang Guanhong's secret plan of borrowing the passage has been carried out perfectly. The 300,000-strong army has completely entered the 2 northern region counties. Of course, according to Qin De, Shang Guanhong didn't need to provide troops to attack together. He only needed to provide some supplies. At this moment, a new situation had taken place in the Chu dynasty. In the south, the 300,000 Blackwater troops occupy some cities in the south of Lei Shui County and confront the Mu clan of the 3 southern region counties. Even though the Mu clan of the 3 southern region counties has 600,000 troops, many of them need to be stationed in their own 3 counties, so only 300,000 to 400,000 troops can really attack. The Blackwater army did not attack. They only defended. It was simply impossible for the 3 southern region counties to defeat the 300,000-strong Blackwater army. After all, in order to win a siege, the attacking side would usually have several times more troops than the defending side. In the west, the 3 armies of Qin Feng, Fu Bing and Jiang Tao are garrisoned in the west of Lei Shui County, which borders Xiangke County, one of the Xiang clan's 4 counties, and Ba Chu County, where the Xiang clan's capital is located. The 300,000-strong army is confronting the Xiang clan. At the same time, the 50,000 fierce tiger troops have also entered Lei Shui County. As for the north, in the 2 northern region counties, the 300,000-strong army of the Qin clan is marching non-stop through the 2 northern region counties towards the west. Obviously, they are going to attack Zhanyang County, one of the Xiang clan's 4 counties, from the north. The Qin clan has mobilized its troops in 3 eastern region counties but only has 150,000 troops left behind. Among these 150,000 troops, 50,000 are the Qin clan's imperial guards, who are specially sent to protect the Qin clan's headquarters. They are also extremely powerful troops. The Xiang clan side, however, has not made any big movements. Their operation is very simple. First, they increase the number of garrisons in the cities bordering Lei Shui County. In the end, the number of troops reached 400,000. However, even though the Qin clan is only confronting them with 350,000 troops, its fighting capacity is already astonishing. Moreover, among these 350,000 troops, there are 50,000 fierce tiger troops. The Xiang clan has also stationed 200,000 troops in Zhenyang County, which borders the 2 northern region counties. As for Xiangke County, which borders the Mu clan, the situation is much more relaxed. Only 30,000 troops have been stationed there. Most of the Xiang clan's remaining 400,000 troops are at the border with the Han dynasty. Even though the Han dynasty has not intervened for the time being, preparations still need to be made. The Xiang clan originally announced that it has 800,000 troops, but in fact it has 1 million troops. Now this number has been revealed. On a plain, densely packed troops are everywhere. There is no end in sight. Various military tents have already been set up. In an inconspicuous military tent in the middle, General Sima, General Ouyang, my lord asked me to ask you that we're now close to the Xiang clan's Zhenyang County and there's only a day's journey left. Why have you suddenly set up camp instead of launching an attack? Zhuang Jun looks at the 2 generals in front of him and asks sincerely. Zhuang Jun is the number 2 figure in the 2 northern region counties. He is extremely loyal to Shangguan Hong and has saved him several times. Sima Yang and Ouyang Ji exchange a look. Then Ouyang Ji strokes his beard and says smilingly, Brother Zhuang Jun, go back and tell your lord that this is a military secret of our Qin clan's war. Forgive me for not being able to tell you. When the war is over, your lord will know. Zhuang Jun slightly frowns. A military secret? Do they want to dismiss me with just this sentence? General Sima, General Ouyang, my lord said that this is a joint operation between the Shangguan clan and the Qin clan. If the Qin clan isn't sure it can break through Zhenyang County, the Shangguan clan can provide 200,000 troops. After saying so, Zhuang Jun stares at Sima and Ouyang Ji. However, these 2 generals are still smiling. It seems they are neither shocked nor concerned about this. It's not hard to break through Zhenyang County. It's a military secret that we won't move. It's up to the Qin clan's army to decide when to attack. You don't have to worry about North vanquishing Prince. But we still have to thank him for his kindness. Sima Yang also says. Seeing the situation, Zhuang Jun has no choice but to retreat. 10 days later, Sima's and Ouyang Ji's armies, totaling 200,000 troops, are still on the plain and have not advanced a single step. For the past 10 days, they have wasted a large amount of food and supplies. In the military tent, Zhuang Jun has come again. General Sima, General Ouyang, it's been 10 days. For 10 whole days, your 200,000 troops haven't advanced a single step. Now my lord is beginning to doubt your Qin clan's sincerity. You're not attacking here nor are you retreating. What do you want to do? Could it be your Qin clan has forgotten the original agreement? Zhuang Jun is slightly angry. Sima Yong, however, stands up and says smilingly, "Brother Zhuang Jun, please sit down. Don't be so angry. Our Qin clan is sincere. If we weren't sincere, why would we have come so far?" After sitting down, Zhuang Jun says, "Now your Qin clan has garrisoned a large number of troops in Lei Shui County, but you're not attacking. Moreover, your 200,000 troops aren't moving either. Behind you, General Zhao Yunqing's 100,000 troops are also advancing slowly. My lord suspects that you're secretly negotiating with the Xiong clan and you're ignoring our 2 northern region counties. You can leave at will. But our 2 northern region counties are close to the Xiong clan, so when the time comes, we'll have to bear the Xiong clan's anger." Haha, negotiating. How can our Qin clan negotiate with the Xiong clan? Go back and tell East Vanquishing Prince not to worry. We'll definitely give him an explanation within 5 days. Ouyangji says smilingly. 5 days? Zhuang Jun slightly frowns, then says with a nod, "All right, 5 days it is. Then my lord and I will quietly wait for the good news from you 2 generals." After saying, Zhuang Jun turns around and leaves. At the same time, his personal guards also leave. 5 days? Ouyang, are you sure you can do it in 5 days? Sima Yong looks at Ouyangji and says. Ouyangji thinks for a while, then says, "I'm not sure either. But since this is His Highness's secret military order, we only need to obey it. His Highness definitely has other secret pawns." Sima. Our Highness is very formidable. Sima Yong also slightly nods. Most of the generals of this generation have been personally promoted by Qinda, so they are extremely loyal to him. In Snow Capital, the headquarters of the Shangguan clan in the 2 northern region counties, in a very ordinary small courtyard, Zhuang Jun is now in a room in this small courtyard. This place is not an extraordinary place. In fact, it is a place where Shangguan Hong hides his mistress. "Your Highness." Standing outside the bead curtain, Zhuang Jun shouts respectfully. Through the bead curtain, he can vaguely see a large luxurious bed inside. Someone is sleeping under the gauze canopy. "Oh, it's Zhuang Jun, wait for me to get dressed." Shangguan Hong's voice comes from inside. "Your Highness, sleep a little longer." A languid voice rises. Shangguan Hong comforts her smilingly, "Little Shui, don't make trouble. I have something important to do." After Shangguan Hong says so, the woman really stops pestering him. After a while, Shangguan Hong gets dressed and comes out. The woman also gets dressed and comes out together with him. At the moment, the face of the woman who was hidden in Shangguan Hong's golden house is still flushed. Her whole body exudes a languid aura. She snuggles up to Shangguan Hong like a kitten. "Your Highness." Zhuang Jun gives a slight hint with his eyes. "Little Shui, go out and play first. I have something important to discuss with Zhuang Jun." Shangguan Hong patted Yan Shui's hand and then took out a purple jade bracelet from his pocket and placed it on Yan Shui's hand. Yan Shui took the purple jade bracelet and gave Shangguan Hong a kiss before leaving with a smile. Immediately, the personal guard at the door closes the door. Only Zhuang Jun and Shangguan Hong are left in the room. "Your Highness, I went to the army camp again to see Generals Ouyang and Sima." Zhuang Jun says. "Oh, there's been no movement for 10 days. How do they explain that? Don't tell me it's some bullshit military secret again." Shangguan Hong says with a cold laugh. According to his and the Xiong clan's secret plan, when the Qin clan's army attacks Zhenyang County, the Shangguan clan will attack the Qin clan's army from behind. At that time, the Qin clan's army will be fighting the Xiong clan. If the Shangguan clan's army suddenly changes sides and attacks, the Qin clan's army will definitely be thrown into chaos. Then they will succeed in one fell swoop. But now, the Qin clan's army has unexpectedly stopped moving when it is only 1 day's journey away from Zhenyang County. Naturally, Shangguan Hong is anxious. He is even worried that the Qin clan has found out about the secret plan of the Shangguan and Xiong clans. "Your Highness, they said they will definitely give you an answer within 5 days." Zhuang Jun says with a bow. 5 days. Shangguan Hong immediately frowns deeply. Suddenly, his face slightly changes color. He stands up and says, "Let's go back to the mansion first." At this moment, Shangguan Hong seems to have thought of something and immediately walks towards the door in large strides. Suddenly, PFFF. Shangguan Hong's whole body is dumbfounded. His face is deathly pale. He turns around and looks at Zhuang Jun in disbelief, saying, "You." At the moment, there is a dagger stuck in Shangguan Hong's waist. It is a middle Xian grade dagger. Given Zhuang Jun's late Xiantian stage power, it is enough to pierce through Shangguan Hong's armor and hit a vital point without Shangguan Hong noticing. Smart. At the moment, Zhuang Jun says with a smile on his face, "That expert of the dominant dragon core up there, you'd better come out." A figure flashes and a lean man appears in the room. This man's eyes are very strange. There is unexpectedly a green light in them. At the moment, he is seething with killing intent. Zhuang Jun, however, looks at him smilingly and says, "You hate me very much, don't you? Your responsibility should be to pass on information from the Shangguan clan and the Xiong clan, right? At the same time, you're also responsible for protecting Shangguan Hong." What a pity. The green-eyed man takes a look at Shangguan Hong. He knows that Shangguan Hong has been seriously injured and cannot hold on for much longer. "You want to die?" the green-eyed man says coldly. Just now, when Shangguan Hong was about to leave the room and walk to Zhuang Jun's side, Zhuang Jun attacked him without any warning. This green-eyed man simply did not have any time to stop him. In this way, Shangguan Hong's vital point was injured and he was about to die. "Zhuang Jun, why did you betray me? I treated you well, didn't I?" Shangguan Hong feels that his vitality is gradually disappearing, but he still finds it hard to believe. Someone once tried to assassinate Shangguan Hong. Shangguan Hong even almost died, but he was saved by Zhuang Jun. This person who has saved him several times now kills him. In his heart, Shangguan Hong really finds it hard to accept. "Your Highness, you treated me very well. Unfortunately, I'm one of the 3 eagles in the Qin clan's Flying Eagle plan. I've endured for so long just for this day. The reason why I'm killing you is because, if I kill you now, the Qin clan will be sure to take over the entire army of the 2 northern region counties." Zhuang Jun says smilingly. "Flying Eagle plan? One of the 3 eagles? Take over the army of the 2 northern region counties?" At this moment, some of the doubts in Shangguan Hong's heart are completely solved. He understands everything completely. He knows that his several sons are simply no match for Zhuang Jun. After all, Zhuang Jun has been his #1 subordinate for so many years. Moreover, Zhuang Jun has the support of the Qin clan behind him. The most important thing is, what is the Qin clan's Flying Eagle plan? A late-stage Xiantian expert has been lurking for so long, and Zhuang Jun has even killed some experts of the Qin clan. The Qin clan has endured for several hundred years. The Black Water Bandits and the Flying Eagle plan. I don't know what else they're hiding. I admire. A mouthful of blood gushes out from Shangguan Hong's mouth. He then continuously spits out large mouthfuls of blood and dies. Even though there are such noises in the room, the strange thing is that none of the personal guards outside the room come in. Chapter 81. Even though Shangguan Hong is dead, there is no resentment on his face. After all, an ambitious and ruthless person like him values his ideals the most, not his life. Since he has lost, he is aware that he has lost. In the struggle for the world, losing means death. The green-eyed man is still staring at Zhuang Jun. His killing intent has completely locked onto Zhuang Jun. He knows Zhuang Jun is a very strong opponent, so he must kill him in one blow. Suddenly, assassin! Assassin! Zhuang Jun suddenly shouts loudly. At the same time, he uses his palm to block his left arm. His whole body flies backwards and smashes the door to pieces. The personal guards outside the room seem to know everything very well. 2 crossbow bolts are shot directly at the green-eyed man. These personal guards were arranged by Zhuang Jun, and they also belong to Qin De's side. Qin De can kill Shangguan Hong at any time, but he has been waiting for this moment. How could he not know that Shangguan Hong and the Xiong clan have been setting a trap for him to jump into? However, Qin De beat them at their own game. Now that the Qin clan's army has entered the 2 northern region counties, Shangguan Hong naturally has to announce to his army that the Shangguan clan supports the Qin clan. Although this announcement is made on the surface, some high-level officials secretly still know that the Shangguan clan is on the Xiong clan's side. However, in order to carry out this plan, they do not dare to tell this news to ordinary middle-level officers or ordinary soldiers. Except for a few high-level officials, almost all the troops in the 2 northern region counties think the Shangguan clan is on the Qin clan's side. Therefore, such an important Flying Eagle plan can be launched. The goal is to control the entire 2 northern region counties in one stroke. Die. The green-eyed man dodges continuously. At the same time, he brandishes a dagger-like weapon in his hand twice, deflecting the crossbow bolts. His whole body rushes straight at Zhuang Jun like a meteorite. Even if he dies, he must kill Zhuang Jun. As a loyalist of the Xiong clan, this green-eyed man has been hiding in Shangguan Hong's place for a long time. He knows Zhuang Jun is an important chess piece for the Qin clan to control the 2 northern region counties, so naturally he must kill him. Assassin. Send the signal. There are also some guards in the surroundings of this secret place. They were attracted by Hongjuan's shout at the beginning. As soon as they enter the courtyard and see Shangguan Hong dead in the room, they immediately send the signal. A whistling arrow shoots up to the sky. Seeing this, Zhuang Jun sneered. Then, he said mournfully, "Everyone, this assassin killed His Highness. Let's kill him and avenge His Highness." At the same time, Zhuang Jun grabbed the saber at his waist and rushed forward. A green light flashed in the green-eyed man's eyes, and he rushed towards Zhuang Jun. Kill. Avenge the prince. One by one, the guards rushed over. These guards were all experts in protecting Shangguan Hong. They surrounded the manor. It forbade outsiders from entering. When they saw this green-eyed man who had appeared out of nowhere, they naturally recognized him as an assassin. With the prince dead, these guards couldn't escape the responsibility. Naturally, they rose to kill the assassin. Clang! Zhuang Jun and the green-eyed man's movements were extremely fast. In an instant, the 2 of them had exchanged dozens of moves. The bodyguards were also good fighters. They secretly shot arrows to affect the green-eyed man. Following the signal just now, more and more people arrived. Humph! The green-eyed man snorted coldly. At this moment, his back was pierced by a flying knife. Even his protective aura couldn't block it. Obviously, the one who threw the flying knife was also an expert. Zhuang Jun's eyes lit up. Whiz! A flying knife flew out from Zhuang Jun's hand. The distance between the 2 of them was too short. Because the green-eyed man was slightly distracted by his injury just now, his stomach was immediately pierced by the knife. At the same time, another flying knife attacked him from behind. There was a middle-aged man behind the green-eyed man. This middle-aged man and Zhuang Jun jumped up almost at the same time. Their figures flashed and disappeared. By the time the middle-aged man and Zhuang Jun stopped, the light in the green-eyed man's eyes had already dimmed. He knelt down powerlessly. At the same time, his upper body and lower body were unexpectedly split in half. Hiss! Zhuang Jun tore off the clothes on the arm of the dead green-eyed man. There was a dragon-shaped mark on his left arm. A faint cold smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. He then said crazily, "Ah, it's the men of sacrifice of the dominant dragon core, the dominant dragon core of the Xiong clan." As time went by, some big shots also arrived. Seeing this scene, they were all stupefied. The prince supported the Qin clan this time. The Xiong clan must have held a grudge against us. That must be it. An old man said indignantly. Zhuang Jun suddenly ran to the side of Shangguan Hong's corpse and suddenly knelt down with a bang. He said, "Your Highness, I, Zhuang Jun, have followed you for so many years, but you were unexpectedly killed by the enemy's assassination. I, Zhuang Jun, hereby swear that I'll definitely lead our 2 northern region counties to destroy the Xiong clan and avenge you." After saying so, Zhuang Jun kowtows 3 times in succession. Suddenly, no good. Just now His Highness was assassinated in the Yen Sun Tower. A man rushed in from outside and immediately reported to Zhuang Jun. After all, many things in the entire 2 northern region counties were ordered by Shangguan Hong and executed by Zhuang Jun. Hearing this news, Zhuang Jun's eyes suddenly turned very red. Ah, the Xiong clan. F***K the Xiong clan. The Xiong clan is now carrying out crazy revenge. I'll take the prince's body back to the prince's mansion. The few of you come with me. The rest of you quickly go and protect the other aristocratic princes." Zhuang Jun shouted. "Yes, sir." The personal guards present all knelt down and said at once. The 2 northern region counties have been completely thrown into chaos. Assassinations have occurred one after another. Many big shots of the Shangguan clan have died. Even Zhuang Jun has been seriously injured. At the same time, even though Zhuang Jun has been injured, he still leads his troops to wipe out the secret branches of the dominant Dragon Corps in the 2 northern region counties. A massacre. The entire 2 northern region counties have been completely thrown into a frenzy. One after another, people related to the Xiong clan have been executed. Even some big shots have been discovered to be spies of the Xiong clan. Even though these big shots have not admitted it, the secret letters they have sent to the Xiong clan in secret are ironclad evidence. Of the 4 generals of the 2 northern region counties, 1 has been assassinated. Another general is unwell and has been replaced by another general. As for the other 2 generals, they have not changed. Zhuang Jun is one of them. Quite a few important figures of the Shangguan clan, such as the aristocratic princes, have been killed. The Shangguan clan only has 1 descendant left. He is only a 3-year-old child. Henceforth, the Shangguan clan has completely declined. Everything is now under the control of Zhuang Jun. Afterwards, in the name of revenge, Zhuang Jun orders 300,000 of the 400,000 troops of the 2 northern region counties to join forces with the Qin clan's army to attack the Xiong clan. Xiong Guang's entire body is paralyzed in his chair. His mind is in a mess. How could this be? How could this be? What's actually going on? Who can tell me what happened? It's only been a few days. Originally the situation was fine, but now, Xiong Guang only has a headache, an incomparable headache. The original plan was so perfect. However, no matter how perfect it was only a plan. A plan can only be considered real when it is realized. If it is not realized, it can only be regarded as a castle in the air. The dominant Dragon Corps. Haha. Yen, do you think the men of sacrifice of the dominant Dragon Corps will kill Shangguan Hong? Will they? Xiong Guang looks at Yen, who is bowing on one side, and asks neurotically. Yen says affirmatively, they won't. Green Eyes is the most successful and most outstanding man of sacrifice of our dominant Dragon Corps. He definitely won't kill Shangguan Hong. Moreover, Green Eyes has been with Shangguan Hong for so many years. If he wanted to kill him, he would have done so long ago. Why would he wait until now? Looking at the group of people in front of him, Xiong Guang does not even have the mood to lose his temper. Get lost, all of you get lost. Xiong Guang says weakly with a wave of his hand. At the moment his mind is in complete disorder. He only knew that his throne was in danger, and his life was in danger. Yan's group of people hurriedly leave the imperial study one by one. Afterwards, the personal guards at the entrance close the door of the imperial study. Xiong Guang then sits paralyzed on a chair and sits there quietly. No one knows what he is thinking about. After a long time, pang! The door of the imperial study opens automatically without anyone pushing it. Gusts of strong wind blow into the imperial study, causing Xiong Guang to narrow his eyes. Close the door for me. Before he can finish speaking, Xiang Guang no longer dares to speak. He sees an old man with a swift and fierce aura walk in directly from outside the door. This old man's long black hair flutters in the wind. He is wearing a long robe with wide sleeves. The long robe is blown up by the wind like a windbreaker. His eyes are like ice-cold sharp arrows. There are 4 people behind the old man. They are standing in 2 rows, side by side. These 4 people all have extremely strange temperaments. That Mr. Lan is one of them. The 4 people behind the old man are also expressionless. These 5 people walk into the imperial study one after the other. The guards of the imperial study seem to be dumbfounded. Great ancestor. Seeing the old man in front of him, Xiang Guang is completely dumbfounded. Great ancestor has not left Weiyang Palace for many years. Even if he has left Weiyang Palace, perhaps Xiang Guang will not know. At least great ancestor has not left Weiyang Palace to see him even once. Xiang Guang suddenly wakes up with a start. He suddenly stands up and kneels down, saying, Guang greets great ancestor. Good. Our Xiang clan has been passed down for nearly 1,000 years. However, in just several months, we've already lost half of it. How on earth did you become an emperor? The old man looks coldly at Xiang Guang and rebukes him mercilessly. Xiang Guang is immediately drenched in cold sweat. He knows very well that as long as this old man gives an order, he will lose his throne. In the Xiang clan, this old man is the god in the hearts of all the Xiang clansmen. Great ancestor, you can't blame me. You also know that the Qin clan is so powerful. Moreover, they've obviously prepared for the Black Water Bandits for several hundred years. Also, this time I don't know whether that suicide warrior was out of his mind or not. He unexpectedly tried to assassinate Shangguan Hong. Xiang Guang says hurriedly. At this moment his mind is completely muddled. He only knows how to shift the blame. Shut up. The old man's eyes flash with coldness. The entire imperial study seems to have become cold. Xiang Guang's heart immediately trembles and he is unable to say anything. I don't blame you. Do you think I don't know what you did in the East vanquishing Prince's mansion in the past? If it hadn't been for that incident in the past which caused the death of the Qin clan's princess, how could things have developed to this point? The old man rebukes angrily. Xiang Guang is terrified in his heart, but he still says, But hasn't the Qin clan been preparing for several hundred years? They've been preparing for several hundred years. If they wanted to rebel, they would have done so long ago. Why did they wait until now? Humph, for so many years, the Qin clan has been living comfortably. After several hundred years, they already don't want to rebel. If it hadn't been for you, how could they have rebelled? The old man rebukes coldly. Xiang Guang does not dare to say anything more. Let's not talk about this. The Qin clan has disloyal intentions. Your incident was just a fuse. But your father was really blind to choose you as the emperor. Do you think it was that suicide warrior who tried to kill Shangguan Hong? Humph. Now the 2 northern region counties are under the control of that Zhuang Jun. He even made the 2 northern region counties' armies obey the Qin clan's orders. Obviously this is all part of the Qin clan scheme. That Zhuang Jun is also a member of the Qin clan. You can't even see through such a small scheme. You're really ruining the Xiang clan's empire by being the emperor. The old man rebukes angrily. Xiang Guang shudders out of fear. From now on, I'll personally decide everything related to the war. During this period of time, you'd better reflect on yourself. Go back to your palace and reflect on yourself. With a command, the old man directly deprives Xiang Guang of his authority as the emperor. Xiang Guang, however, is shocked in his heart. This great ancestor in front of him has not personally managed the imperial family's affairs for many years. Obviously, he can't sit still in the current situation. Afterwards, Xiang Guang is filled with joy from the bottom of his heart. This mess has become so chaotic that he is not in the mood to manage it. Letting this great ancestor manage it makes him happy and relaxed. He immediately says, Guang I'll go back and reflect on myself right away. After saying so, Xiang Guang immediately leaves the imperial study. From now on, he will be an emperor who does not live up to his name. The old man turns around and stares outside the room. His eyes seem to be able to pierce through space. Qin clan, I'd like to see what tricks you've got. Don't force me to use the last step of my plan. If I use that step, even if we win, it'll be meaningless. A faint cold smile appears on the corners of the old man's mouth. His long hair and robe flutters. His entire body gives off an imposing manner of looking down on the world. Mr. Lon and the other 3 experts stand on one side, not daring to say anything to disturb this great ancestor. No matter how chaotic the Chu kingdom is at the moment, Qin Yu and Xiao He, who are in the wilderness, are practicing wholeheartedly. According to Qin Yu's memories, there are still a year or 2 before the Qin clan starts the war. Naturally, he is not in a hurry, so he is practicing hard on the way back. In a boundless jungle, Qin Yu and Xiao He are traveling through it. At the moment, Qin Yu is wearing trousers and a sleeveless undershirt. His muscles on his upper body are completely exposed. These clothes were found in the wardrobe in the bedroom on the 2nd floor of Lei Mountain House. When Qin Yu first arrived at Lei Mountain House, his clothes were already torn. Later on, he found a lot of clothes in the bedroom. The Qianlong continent also has trousers and sleeveless undershirts. However, the material of these clothes is very strange. Unexpectedly, they can recognize the owner by dripping blood on them like a holy weapon. Their defense is also extremely strong. Qin Yu drips his blood on them to keep them. These clothes are indeed very comfortable to wear. Qin Yu also does not want to be naked or draped in animal skins all the time. Qin Yu's feet almost never touch the ground. He shuttles back and forth in the forest like a flash of lightning. Suddenly, his body stops moving extremely fast. Xiao He also stops at once. There's a demonic beast's aura. It's the Jin Dan stage. A man and an eagle look directly in a direction. They do not try to avoid it at all. They see a seductive purple-clothed woman appear in their field of vision. That purple-clothed woman seems to be very surprised and uses her small hand to cover her small cherry mouth. Chapter 82. Xiao He, a fox, seems to be a cunning demonic beast. Qin Yu slightly raised the corners of his mouth. Looking at the purple-clothed woman, he transmitted his voice to her through his holy sense. Qin Yu's holy sense immediately discovered the true body of the purple-clothed woman. Xiao He's eagle eyes stared straight at the seductive purple-clothed woman like sharp arrows. He also transmitted his voice to her, Humph, a fox in the early stage of Jin Dan. It's easy to kill her. After traveling in the untainted land for so long, Qin Yu and Xiao He had also adapted to the cruelty of the untainted land. Survival of the fittest. All kinds of demonic beasts in the untainted land were ferocious. One should never be deceived by their appearance. After all, demonic beasts had the opportunity to decide their own appearance when they turned into human form. Mister, are you a human? The purple-clothed woman blinked her big watery eyes and asked timidly. Qin Yu suddenly smiled. Miss, I'm a human. You can call me Mr. Qin. What's your name? Qin Yu's interest was piqued. He wanted to play with this little fox and see what she wanted to do. The purple-clothed woman smiled shyly and said, I'm Yen Shui. It's the first time I've seen a human like Mr. Qin. I wonder if I'm lucky enough to invite Mr. Qin to my place to have a rest? As she said this, her watery eyes stared at Qin Yu. I'm very happy to be invited by Mississippi Xiao He. Go and have some fun. Qin Yu said directly. Xiao He's eagle head nodded. At the same time, he transmitted his voice to Qin Yu through his holy sense. Big brother, I don't know what tricks this little fox is playing. Be careful. Xiao He was a demonic beast with inherited memory. Although it was in the early stage of Jin Dan, its strength was comparable to that of the middle stage of Jin Dan. Once it used all kinds of magical attacking methods in its inherited memory, it could even compete with those in the late stage of Jin Dan. Why would it be afraid of a little fox in the early stage of Jin Dan? That's great. Young Master Qin, please follow me. After saying that, Yen Shui turned around and flew away. Although her speed was fast, her flying movements were truly moving, just like now. Qin Yu and Xiao He easily caught up with Yen Shui. After walking for a few dozen li, they arrived at their destination. During this period of time, Qin Yu had been constantly fighting and killing, and had yet to enjoy himself. Now, Qin Yu saw a very beautiful pavilion, which was made up of the trunk of a peach tree. The pavilion was surrounded by a beautiful peach blossom forest. Young Master Qin, this is the residence of our sisters. My elder sister and second sister are probably still inside. Yen Shui's gentle voice sounded in Qin Yu's ears. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. His spiritual sense had already seen the other two demon foxes in the residence. They should be Yen Shui's so-called big sister and second sister. However, in terms of strength, one of the two demon foxes in the pavilion had already reached the middle stage of Jindan. Big sister, second sister, I've brought the guests back. Yen Shui shouted towards the pavilion. Young Master Qin, let's go in. Yen Shui smiled and said. At the same time, two extremely beautiful women walked out of the pavilion. One of them was a black-clothed beauty who looked to be in her 30s and had a mature aura. The other one looked to be in her 20s and also had a seductive aura. The Demon Fox clan was indeed extremely seductive. Greetings, young master. I am Yen Zi. This is my second sister, Yen Lan. This is my third sister, Yen Shui. I believe you already know them. It's rare for a human to come to my peach blossom pavilion. I'm unable to contain my joy. Please come in. After saying that, Yen Zi stretched out her hand and pulled Qin Yu. Qin Yu did not resist and allowed Yen Zi to pull him. Yen Zi's hand was like warm jade, transmitting an inexplicable feeling. However, Qin Yu was not affected at all. I don't know what this demon fox is trying to do. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. Yen Zi suddenly looked at Xiao He and her eyes flashed. She then smiled and said, Young Master Qin, this eagle is also very ferocious. Is it a bird that you subdued? Yen Zi's entire body slightly leaned on Qin Yu's arm as she said, A bird that I subdued? No, he's my brother. Qin Yu's temperament was extremely tough. However, the demon fox's aura could not shake Qin Yu's heart. At the age of 8, he had persisted in the extreme training method. After so many years, Qin Yu's temperament was not something that ordinary people could compare to. Moreover, when Qin Yu used the alias Lu Xing to carry out assassin missions, when he drifted in the mortal world, he was tempted by many women. These were just child's play. Yen Zi smiled and said, Second sister, third sister, quickly prepare tea and pastries. Yes. Yen Shui and Yen Lan's soft voices rang out, and then the sisters walked into the pavilion like a gust of wind. Qin Yu followed Yen Zi into the living room and sat down on a chair in the living room. After a short while, Yen Shui and Yen Lan brought some pastries and tea over. These pastries were personally made by me. Young Master Qin, have a taste. Yen Shui brought a piece to Qin Yu's mouth, as if to feed him. Qin Yu took it with his hand and took a bite. At the same time, a surge of astral energy surged into Qin Yu's mouth and enveloped the pastry. It was as if a raging flame had burned the entire pastry. Qin Yu's lips curled into a smile. Soul-enchanting fragrance? Qin Yu stared at the three Yen sisters in front of him and laughed. Instantly, the three sisters' faces changed slightly. At the same time, a pink fragrance emitted from the three Yen sisters' bodies and filled the entire living room. Qin Yu waved his hand and a gust of wind blew. However, the fragrance continued to permeate the living room, and the wind couldn't blow it away. Young Master Qin, your Jin Dan can probably save us sisters 100 years of bitter cultivation. Yen Zi smiled charmingly. At the same time, a white light shot out from her body and transformed into a huge white net. This net fell from the sky and directly covered Qin Yu and Xiao He. Sisters, prepare to enjoy a feast. The 3 Yen sisters stared at Qin Yu with blazing eyes. Xiao Hei, I'll do it this time. Qin Yu's voice sounded in Xiao Hei's mind. As long as the soul-enchanting fragrance didn't enter the body, it would be fine. However, once it did, it would be terrible. Qin Yu was already prepared and naturally wouldn't fall for it. All right. Hurry up. Xiao Hei said helplessly. Whoosh. A dark golden lightning split the living room and directly pierced through the white net. Pang. The white net was split into 2 halves. Yan Zi's face immediately turned pale. At the same time, she said with her spiritual sense, "It's a mid-grade spiritual weapon. Sisters, let's do it." Yan Zi guessed wrong. Something that could break a low-grade spiritual weapon wasn't necessarily a mid-grade one. It could be a high-grade or even a supreme-grade one. However, Yan Zi couldn't imagine that a Jin Dan stage self-cultivator would have a high-grade spiritual weapon. Yen Shui and Yen Lan heard Yan Zi's voice transmission and immediately rushed towards Qin Yu. However, Qin Yu didn't attack them at all. All they saw was the dark golden flying sword shot towards Yan Zi like an embroidery needle. Yan Zi pulled out her belt and her loose robe slid down. To everyone's surprise, Yan Zi's robe was empty. Yan Zi's alluring body appeared naked in front of Qin Yu. The belt she pulled out turned into a flexible sword. It suddenly straightened and shot directly towards Qin Yu. "You only know how to use such vulgar tricks." Qin Yu sneered. He stretched out one hand and grabbed the flexible sword. His finger force penetrated and broke the flexible sword just like that. The flaming gloves, which had become a high-grade spiritual weapon, were indeed very powerful. At this moment, Yen Shui and Yen Lan attacked Qin Yu from the left and right. Eagle Claw. Qin Yu's hands turned into eagle claws. He didn't care about the weapons in Yen Shui and Yen Lan's hands. He directly grabbed their wrists and broke their wrists. Then, he clenched his claws into fists and pierced Yen Shui and Yen Lan's foreheads with his left and right fingers. Yen Shui and Yen Lan fell to the ground and turned into foxes. "Third sister, second sister." Yan Zi screamed and rushed towards Qin Yu like a madwoman. However, to Qin Yu's astonishment, when Yan Zi was charging at him, she suddenly changed direction and ran in another direction. She was unexpectedly running away at such a high speed. Running away? You want to compete with me in speed? Like a soundless wind, Qin Yu arrives at Yan Zi's side in almost an instant. While Yan Zi is flying extremely fast to escape, she turns her head to take a look and secretly exhales, "That brat didn't catch up." However, when she turns her head, she sees Qin Yu in front of her with a smile on his face. "Ah!" Yan Zi immediately let out the loudest scream. Qin Yu heard the scream and couldn't help but frown. Yan Zi's eyes flashed coldly. Her hands turned into claws and stabbed towards Qin Yu. Qin Yu directly punched and broke Yan Zi's claws. At the same time, he punched Yan Zi's abdomen. Yan Zi's whole body shook violently. Then, she fell to the ground and turned into a fox. 3 demon foxes. Qin Yu had an unconcerned smile on his face. "Xiao Hei, no matter what kind of demon beast it is, most of them want to kill each other and devour the other's Jin Dan. These 3 demon foxes also want to kill us and take our Jin Dan." Qin Yu stretched out one hand and spat out a flame, burning the fox's corpse. A Jin Dan appeared in front of Qin Yu. Qin Yu waved his hand and put it into his interspatial ring. Then, he flew back to the Peach Blossom Pavilion. Xiao Hei saw Qin Yu and said with his spiritual sense, "Big brother, we haven't even gone halfway back, but we've already killed several Jin Dan demon beasts. We didn't want to kill them for no reason. However, these demon beasts are too cruel. They all want to eat our Jin Dan. However, they are too weak. It's not that they are weak. It's that their foresight is too bad. Xiao Hei, the other 2 Jin Dan are yours. Let's find a secret place to refine this Jin Dan," Qin Yu said with a smile. Xiao Hei opened his mouth and shot out 2 bolts of lightning, directly hitting the 2 demon fox corpses. The 2 Jin Dan immediately flew out and was swallowed by Xiao Hei. Then he said, "Big brother, These two Jin Dan will probably take 3 days to refine. Let's go and find a place first. Qin Yu and Xiao Hei, one man and one eagle, quickly left the Peach Blossom Pavilion. In the wilderness, demon beasts killed each other. They wanted to devour each other's Jin Dan or Yuanying to increase their strength. Of course, if they wanted to devour others' Jin Dan, they also needed to have sufficient strength. That Yen Shui felt that Qin Yu and Xiao Hei's strength was about the same as the Jin Dan early stage, so she decided to make a move. However, whether it was Qin Yu or Xiao Hei, it was impossible to judge their strength from their appearance. Along the way, there were already several demon beasts who killed their Jin Dan because they underestimated Qin Yu and Xiao Hei. The night was as cold as water, and the wilderness wind was even stronger. In a nameless mountain range in the wilderness, Qin Yu and Xiao Hei were in a cave. A simple illusion array was set up at the entrance of the cave. Qin Yu sat cross-legged. That Jin Dan floated in front of Qin Yu. All of a sudden, Qin Yu opened his eyes. Qin Yu pointed with one hand, and a light green flame emerged from Qin Yu's fingertip. After that, it wrapped around that Jin Dan. With a chi-chi sound, that Jin Dan was incessantly burned and turned into a golden liquid. This golden liquid also constantly revolved around Qin Yu. Humph! The air around Qin Yu shook. Suddenly, an illusory light silver star power emerged from Qin Yu's body. At the same time, it formed a huge whirlpool-shaped cloud. Qin Yu was in the center of this whirlpool-shaped cloud. That golden liquid turned into energy and was wrapped up by the huge whirlpool. The light silver star power formed a cycle and drew the Jin Dan energy into his dantian. In his dantian, there was also a nebula that was constantly revolving. However, at this moment, the star true fire in the center of the nebula was extremely hot. Chi-chi. Once this golden energy entered the dantian, it first had to be refined by the star true fire. Scorch. Normally, demonic beasts would swallow the Jin Dan and absorb the energy for their own use. However, Qin Yu was different. He would always refine this Jin Dan again and again until all the strange energy was completely refined. In the end, only the most important life essence of a cultivator was left. This most basic life essence energy was then absorbed by Qin Yu. After being refined by the star true fire, 90% of the Jin Dan's energy would be wasted. However, Qin Yu would always remember one point that Senior Lei Wei emphasized in the stellar transformations: purity. The energy must be pure, and the foundation must be solid. The nebula in Qin Yu's dantian was constantly revolving and formed a whirlpool. Every whirlpool had a layer of silver granules. These silver granules contained powerful energy. The purest energy that was refined in the end was absorbed by these silver granules. After 90% of the Jin Dan was refined, the remaining purest energy was the cultivator's life essence. The golden liquid floating outside of Qin Yu's body was refined by Qin Yu every time. Qin Yu was not in a hurry. This could not be rushed. After almost 3 days and 3 nights, Qin Yu finally refined it completely and absorbed it completely. Qin Yu opened his eyes and saw that Xiao Hei had already finished his cultivation. "Big brother, you refined it successfully?" "I also just refined it successfully." Xiao Hei transmitted a message with his spiritual awareness. Qin Yu smiled and nodded. "Big brother, we spend some time every time to absorb it." Those demonic beasts devoured the Jin Dan very quickly. However, they all swallowed it without thinking. It was as if the more energy, the better. Xiao Hei had a trace of disdain. Ordinary demonic beasts only knew the most basic cultivation methods. What did they know? How could they compare with Xiao Hei? After all, there were many mysterious cultivation methods in Xiao Hei's memories. "Xiao Hei, it's time to hurry." Qin Yu's figure flashed and rushed out of the cave. The illusory array was broken by Qin Yu with a wave of his hand. Xiao Hei also rushed out with a flap of its wings. The man and eagle continued their cultivation journey in the wilderness. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.